Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 91 of Power Bombshells. I am Sam. That is Mel. And we are just two broads talking about the wrestling that we watch and we enjoy. And we had announced a special guest, but now we have two special guests that will be joining us in just a few minutes. We just want to let everybody get in here and get situated, especially if maybe they were at brunch this morning. So we want to get them in. And we've got some people over in the comments already that are excited. The ones who saw the announcement for this week. So Nikki's excited. Gray's ready. Brad is. Let's go. Brad's already tweeted. I tweeted it from the Power Bombshells account. Actually, in mine too. In honor of today's guest, Brad is decked out in some merch or some gear for our guest today. So that's really cool. So we retweeted that, got that out there. So I'm also wearing a shirt. I was like, that might not be professional, but whatever. We do what we want here on Power Bombshells.
I am wearing Arcado because it's the 10th anniversary of Arcado, and Kyle is doing a new Kickstarter. So, and I'm wearing my main hat because my sister visited and she brought me a main hat, and I love it.
Nice.
So we'll get into some of that later because we have way better stuff on deck.
Yeah, and Daza predicts that you're wearing a crown. Well, she's
no. You know what? The crown needs to go to Sam. She is the queen of all of getting it. Sam rocks. People do not never, ever take advantage of the fact that you have Sam in your wrestling world. She does a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
I'm done marking out about you now. You can talk.
I appreciate it. Keep
a little bit more later.
Yes, a little bit more later. And actually, this will be the first of two shows for us this week because Saturday is Full Gear. So we will have our pre-show on Saturday. So you get us twice this week. So hopefully you don't get tired of us because you'll get us on Saturday instead of Sunday next week. And then we'll be back.
They never really get tired of us. They know they can watch us back on here anytime they want to because they want to see my hat. If they're subscribed to the $10 tier, they can listen to us and then wonder, what kind of hat's Mel wearing? I think I'll go over to YouTube and subscribe. That's exactly what they'll think.
Yes.
No, sorry, I had to pander there for a minute.
No, that's all right, because we'll get that in because we had some changes with the with some stuff, and we will add that because there's some changes over at the Patreon, which we'll talk about a little bit later on, just to make sure that you guys are aware of some of the stuff that's happening with some of the other shows. Let's see. Daza said, "What time Saturday?" It'll be our normal one, as far as I know.
We'll get that information out to you.
It'll most likely be our normal time, just on Saturday. But we'll talk about it and see. We may move it around, but we'll definitely, and of course, make sure you're following us on Twitter because we'll Power Bombshells on Twitter, Power Bombshells on Instagram because we'll announce the time for sure. But most likely, it'll be our regular time just on Saturday because of the pre-show. Brad says here, Mel's hats are always a draw.
Thank you. It's the old Maine state flag, and my sister and brother-in-law brought my niece on over for a couple days visit, and they brought us these hats. And I've also got another one that I'll wear sometime for you guys. But I think the hat's cute, and obviously it's feeling Maine strong these days. It's really nice to give them hugs. But
of course,
it was really sweet. We had a lot of fun. It was fun to show them around the greater Detroit suburb.
I'm sure they had a good time.
Oh, we had a blast. We played Mario together. Okay, that says everything you need to know. That's the kind of trip it was. So
hey, you know what? It's all for family bonding.
It's wonderful. It was a great trip.
Loving your people, as we've talked about. We talk about that anyway, but with some things that have come up that I had to deal with, and love your people. You never know when they're going to be gone, so make sure that you love them and hug them as much as you can. So we don't want to go too far down the sad route, but
we're not. We have happy, awesome things going on today.
We do. So I guess with that, we should probably. What in the world just happened? Okay, hit some. I was trying to read. Fight Game Media is retweeting, is telling people to come watch the show, and I hit.
Oh,
I
so
thought I
your
hit.
thing is buzzing with that stuff, and my
Yeah,
thing is buzzing with other stuff.
Because Fight Game is making sure we get some viewers today because we have some fantastic guests, and if they are ready, we are gonna give them. I guess we'll do a quick countdown, let them get ready, bring them on.
Got it. That's what I thought.
Wait, got another one. We gonna get.
I got a thumbs up.
Yep. All right. Let's bring them on. So today we are joined by. It's gonna sound not nearly as cool as when he announces it himself and when he says it. So please forgive me right now. But we have the intergalactic soul, the honorable brother, the revolutionary ourself, Darius Lockhart. And he is going to be joined by the Pan-African World Diaspora Champion, Sugar Dunkerton. So please welcome them to the Power Bombshells show.
What's going on, y'all?
Hey.
Yo. How you doing?
So glad to have you on. If you guys happen to see, Darius and Shug were doing a Instagram live and live on TikTok on the ASÉ accounts talking this morning, and decided, I was like, well, Shug's there. Let's see if he wants to come hang out with us too. So now we got them both on with us today.
I appreciate
we
the
appreciate
plus one. I appreciate that.
Hey, that's a good plus one.
Anytime.
Glad to have you.
Seriously.
I was literally going to be off camera if you was interviewing him. And I was over there like, man, that interview sound good too, man. They asked me some good questions. I got to be quiet.
Nah.
Well, I'm glad you. Yeah, and look at that beautiful belt we've got there that Shug just won recently and has defended a couple times successfully, and hopefully going to be defending it many more times because that title is pretty prestigious. Our Trish Adora that we love here at the Power Bombshells had that title for a very long time. I believe it was 1,300. Was it 36 days?
1338.
Yeah. Oh, 1338. Yes, my apologies.
You got to get it right. She'll correct you if you don't.
Hey, no, she should. She should. That's a big deal.
That's right.
And should, I told her, she gotta talk herself up. She's gotta talk her game, man. She's very talented, has a lot to offer the world. So might as well remind people when every time you get a chance to, right? Right. Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. And so,
you gotta take those accolades when you got them, man. Very rare. Grab on.
She's surprisingly
humble brag.
She's surprisingly humble. Like when. I love the fact that she takes up the space that she takes in this business. I think she should be taking up more, honestly. But she's so humble. She's so humble, and it's like you really don't have to be if you didn't want to be, but she is, and it makes me
right.
That's awesome. That's great. I mean, because you don't. You said it right there. You don't. I mean,
and now because Shug's a world champion, he doesn't have to be humble either. So don't let this man.
That's right. This is true.
Absolutely.
That is true.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what's going on, guys? I thank you for having us on the show overall.
Of course. Yeah. We are super excited because, we've obviously with ASÉ coming up, and I'll let you guys talk about that and explain for people who may not know what it is, but like of course, that, I've been a Darius and a Shug fan for a very long time because they used to wrestle at our local promotion that doesn't really exist anymore. So I haven't seen them.
Defunct.
Go ahead.
I said, tell him it's defunct. He keeps
it's defunct.
Belt around like man. Look, all right, you know
what? Hey, at least you still have yours. I heard.
Okay. All right, I'll take it. Lucky still got it, but Lucky didn't beat me for it, so we don't have to worry. I'm about to hit you with the lawyer hand. Yeah. When the lawyer hand come out, we about to do this. Boom. Listen. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I am the only two-time PWX champion on record. Yeah. Longest reigning PWX. Pure champion. Pure champion. Longest reigning PWX pure champion on record. Yeah. It is not my fault that the company decided, hey, we're gonna come back, and it never came back. That's not on me. Right. I'm still great.
No, it is not on you.
I will, however, say the last time we competed in pure rules. I don't think if we did it again, I don't think you would have. I won that first pure wrestling match between us two. So for you to be pure champion, I feel like I'm the uncrowned pure champion. Why you bringing up old stuff, man? Because we're talking about old stuff. Let's talk about new stuff. Let's talk about our shit.
You're gonna bring up the past. We'll talk about the past.
But yeah,
let that stuff go.
Yeah.
So
no. I'll let you continue, Sam. I apologize.
No, you are fine. You're totally fine. I'm totally giving out.
Yeah, because we are bringing up PWX. That's how I know both of these amazing wrestlers. That's how I got to see them wrestle. I got to talk to them and chat with them, and they're wonderful people. And I'm so glad that I feel like I haven't seen either one of you in a really long time, just because it used to be, that was one of the things you take for granted when you have a monthly wrestling shows. You're like, oh, I'll see you in a few weeks. I'll see him in a few weeks. And then they are defunct. They went away. And we're like, man, I haven't seen Suge in like 2 years, it feels like.
It's an unfortunate little scenario and how that worked out, I guess, just because, there's other pastors that were going on and it just happened that way. But honestly, like, I thank PWX for everything that it's done for a lot of careers and for a lot of people. But it also created a situation where it shook up things for the North Carolina scene. And it also shook up for a lot of talent. They took chances on themselves and they're coming out okay.
Right.
They're coming out great, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
And it leaves room for
so great to see
stuff like this.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And so once Darius said that he was going to be doing something as announced, and I was like, well, he's got my support. I don't even know what it is, but I'm there. Just tell me, where to go, and I'll be there. And so ASÉ, I guess for the people who are not familiar with what ASÉ is, please tell them what it is.
ASÉ is a baby of mine. It is a show, a entity. I don't like calling it a wrestling promotion because I want it to be more than that. I want it to reach people on a very deep, personal, but also a grand level. But what it is ASÉ is an entity that is going to be giving you guys a show December 1st at the Grady Cole Center. Right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll have 6 wrestling matches. We have a live performance by Dreamville's Loot. People are hip hop fans, and you guys are familiar with J. Cole and Dreamville. One of the rappers on the label named Loot, who has been Grammy nominated. He's on the Creed 3 soundtrack. He's on the Dreamville albums. He's going to be there performing with us. And really, what it is it's a celebration of pro wrestling. It's my love letter to pro wrestling. But what it also is doing is putting pro wrestling through a new lens. I felt like we can be very stagnant with our progression of pro wrestling in terms of what things look like, the style, what we expect from the content we watch. But I wanted to kind of just put a new remix on things and do it my way and show people how dope wrestling can really be. I have personal friends who are in the art world, or they may do stand up or they do music or whatever, and they were fans. If I don't want to not be humble, but they're fans of the way I presented myself in pro wrestling. And I remember a friend of mine saying, if pro wrestling, they watched my stuff and they were like, if pro wrestling looked like this all around, I would watch more of it. And I was like, well, it can happen, and let's try to do that. And that's what this kind of ends up being.
And this is an idea that you've had since, I believe, like 2019. Is that correct?
2019. Yeah, it started as something else entirely. It really was me and here's another PWX name for you. It was me and Saeed Al-Sabah sitting on the couch.
Oh, okay.
Talking about what we would like to see out of pro wrestling. And then some more things were said publicly that I don't really want to get into that were kind of negative about the people that I'm locked in arms with, side by side on independent wrestling. I think, and I just kind of took it personally, and I said, you know what, we're gonna do that dream you and I have, Saeed. It's a thing that we need to put forth and put our money toward and everything like that. And of course, COVID happens and it informs and it changes perspective. Yeah. And I think that allowed the vision to grow into what ASÉ is now, which is a lot more family oriented than we originally wanted. But it also is a lot more inclusive. It's a lot less niche. It's a lot bigger, more expansive. And it's not just a pro wrestling company. We're on Instagram giving you guys original content, a lot of original content on the way. We have filmed original series. We have podcasts. We have DJ sets. We have live streams. We have a lot of things. So it really works as a content hub. But it all starts December 1st at Grady Cole Center when we give you a pro wrestling show, which is ultimately the heart and spine of this company. So. Yeah.
And I have a question, and I don't. Hopefully, this doesn't. If this is something we don't want to talk about, that's fine. But I'm curious because I was around, obviously, with PWX has been something that I was going to. I was going to the shows for like 11 years, and so I was there for a very long time. They did not handle the Black Lives Matter situation very well. And that obviously turned off a lot of wrestlers. A lot of wrestlers quit coming, which completely understandable. Is ASÉ kind of not in response to that, but did their response to that kind of push you to want to do something like ASÉ?
Well, I think not that circumstance particularly. I did see that did, some situation get back to me, and I'd already parted ways with the company before that happened.
Right.
But that was a concern that was brought to me. But that is one situation of many.
Sure.
Those situations happen all the time, and that was just kind of top of a bubble where more people felt inclined to speak on it because I like to sometimes refer to myself as I have to be the guy who has to go over the hill with the arrows in his back, right? I have to come back and tell everybody. I had to be the one. But I started speaking on things, and originally some people were like, hey man, don't talk about that. You'll get blackballed, whatever. And some places didn't want to touch me or whatever. But I think that eventually I was kind of speaking truth to power, and then people were starting to see that truth in their everyday experiences in pro wrestling. Backstage. And I think people did say to themselves, no, we've had enough of it looking like this, and we want to do something about it. So, I mean, I think that is a seed planted, but I don't think it's the actual situation that made me want to create ASÉ. And and ASÉ lives beyond, I want ASÉ to have a life beyond a response to race issues and relations in professional wrestling. I know people have kind of looked at this and kind of thrown their own projections onto it in terms of race and what they see. But honestly, it's kind of been a Rorschach test because there's been no mention of it in any of the promotional material. But it's just funny. But I say that to say this: those situations, hopefully, we'll have a lot less of them when places like ASÉ existing. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a place where we want to understand who we're working with and realize that we're working together. You're not working for us. You're working with us. And how can we, and there's a relationship between the performers, the audience, and us as an entity to be held accountable. We hold each other accountable. And that's what community is about. So that stuff like that has to happen for things like this to eventually, but I wouldn't say it's a catalyst.
You're creating a wrestling community, not just a wrestling promotion, is essentially what you're telling me.
Absolutely.
And what's crazy
I mean, because
the whole thing is, I remember him first talking about it like as a rough draft. And it's like, when that initial rough draft of what this was, there was a lot of like, man, why isn't it like this? It's like, we got to show them and this, that, and the third, and et cetera, et cetera. And it was a lot of, I guess the word we're looking for is like vitriol at the time about like, we gotta show them what we stand for and whatnot. But then I think it's good that, like the COVID stuff happened. You took time. Everybody had to grow up a little. Everybody had to go through some things a little because you probably heard me mention this a lot, and I'll mention it a lot when I bring this up. The original vision of this didn't have the love in it the way this has now. So like when ASÉ became a thing, when it finally was labeled, when it was named, you know what I'm saying? It's like this is love of self, this is love of community, this is love of wrestling, this is love of trying to bring everybody in. We're not trying to separate anything off. We want everybody to be included in this. Right. But this is an experience this is my version of an experience that I hope that you will enjoy and come into it as well. And it's so inviting and it makes you want to see what it's going to become. Like we're on the precipice of something special. And the thing is, we haven't even had the first show yet. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So there's
this card looks great. I mean, and
I think
the right philosophy and the right product. I mean, you mix that with good product and you basically have a recipe for awesome.
Indeed.
I mean,
also.
Right. It's just, just in speaking to the community aspect of this, just simply because I am also a Ren Fair nerd and there's a lot of community in that as well. And it's very similar to wrestling. And I've always said this on the show. And that's why I like both so much. They come from the same background and, they both used to exist on the same fairgrounds together. It's amazing what people have, because one of my best friends brought this up, is it's one of the few sports where the audience is absolutely integral to the experience. I love the community aspect of wrestling, so I'm very excited for this, even being I mean, I'm for someone who doesn't live next to you guys in Charlotte, who has to live all the way up here in the Great Lakes region in Metro Detroit, I will be able to watch it on pay-per-view.
I was going to say, hopefully you'll be able to stream it, you know?
I definitely will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Will be. And I love this. This is something I can totally get behind. I hope it spread, because it'll spread.
I hope so.
Yeah. Wrestling communities love this stuff. Oh.
Thank you. And you know, and that was the purpose of us doing media in London and places like that, and people from all over. Just because, you know, I knew that it'd be able to be streamed, so we want to get this as many eyes as possible. We want to get this to viewers, and hopefully we can, you know, channel some support, and where Charlotte becomes a destination spot, where it becomes a mecca for pro wrestling. North Carolina used to be there, so might as well become a.
That's have a great Ren Fair, so I have all the reasons, and my co-host lives there, so I have literally every reason in the world. I even have other friends now. I mean,
come on, talk to them.
We'll figure out. Since this was a question on their live, is we'll figure out where the brunch spots are.
Yeah.
So we can tell. That was a question that came up on their live, is where to go to brunch, and I'm not a brunch person. I mean, I like brunch, like you guys said, but I'm not. And snooze was the first thing that popped in my head too. If you're looking for, I would recommend, if people are looking for good barbecue, one of my favorites is Midwood Smokehouse. There's one not too far off the street from Grady Cole. The parking is not good. I Uber there. They're doing some. I hate what they're doing over there in the Plaza Midwood area. But as far as all the thing, that's a whole other conversation. But speaking of Grady Cole and bringing, you know, Charlotte being a mecca, Grady Cole Center is one of the most historic venues in Charlotte. How did that come about, running your very first show at a place like that? Like, that's a place where I saw Liar wrestle.
Yeah. I was on that show.
Yes, you were.
Yeah. I got really banged up on that show. That's a funny story.
Who did you work?
Oh no.
I was on a fatal 4-way with Mason Miles, Patrick Scott, and Brian Pillman Jr., aka Lexus King.
Okay.
And well, I won't go into that. But anyway, this is what happened with the Grady Cole Center show. I remembered the venue. I remembered how favorable it was to pro wrestlers. It has a real locker room. It has, you know, no space to move around. It has a big event feel. You know what I mean? You know, it's when lit properly, it's one of the most beautiful things you can, you know, in terms of spectacle. It looks amazing, but it's all produced up. So those were kind of incentives to go. Also, the history of the building itself, like you said, it's NWA territory. It's Dusty's house. It's Steamboat's house. It's all those people have been there. And I'm not sure anything like ASÉ has existed there, especially with the musical element being added to it. We have a live performance beforehand. I mean, it's a cool thing, but I also thought it would platform us as a big deal. If you see us as a big venue, you know I'm for real. You know what I mean? I'm not like, you know, and no shade to brewery shows, but if I put in a brewery, it's a lot less impactful than if I do that place of story. And a place we, you know, naturally get to make history in. I don't know if 2 Black women have ever main evented at the Grady Cole Center before. I think this is the first.
I would assume that that's the first, and that's a huge deal. And just the match itself is a huge deal, and I can't believe, like, when I saw. So if you haven't seen the announcement, the main event is Trisha Dora versus Aja Kong. Like, blows my mind. Like, I think I said literally, like, when I saw the announcement, just hold my phone in my hand. I think I just yelled "what" at my phone, and I was like, I was just like, what is this match? Like,
there was definitely some people out there swearing it was a Tom's Customs. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Tom, but they're like, ain't no way.
And shout out Tom's Customs, because Tom Customs made me one of the variant posters, which is funny because he made me like 8 variant posters, but I was like, man, me putting a Tom's Custom thing with this first, we're like, everyone's not gonna believe it's real, right? So I had to do the original thing and then put out Tom's, But
there you go, but let people know that this was A real one.
A real show.
Wait, I think I have it. So.
I will be.
Yeah.
Here's a place where I will be less humble. I think I have a natural talent for. No, that's me again. But I a good-looking man, but that's not Aja.
Yeah.
No, I know. I don't. This thing does not want to work with me right now. It's so
Girl,
it's awesome. I had it up there. Eventually, I'll find it. But
of course.
you guys keep talking because you're way more interesting than my not doing this properly.
Oh no. But what I'll say is, I think that I do have a talent of thinking of matches that people don't necessarily know that they need or know that they want.
Oh man, yeah.
And,
That's
I have a lot more up the sleeve. Hopefully, I get to show you guys all what those are. But yeah, I have plenty of cool ideas that you guys are gonna love. Hopefully,
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. And and Brad said that's one of those Twitter questions. Yeah, that's been a question going around lately on Twitter. Is post a present and past wrestler you want to see in a match? And Trish and Aja is the epitome of that, except it's actually happening, and we get to see it on the very first show. And I just and so that will bring how. I know you can't give away your secrets, but how did you pull Aja Kong for your very first for a show that's not this is your very first thing out there out of the gate, never had this before, and you've got somebody of Aja Kong being like, you know what, I'll do it, let's go.
Respectfully speaking, I'm Darius Lockhart.
Hey, good enough for me.
I've been good to. I like to think that I've been good to a lot of people. I do business the right way. I've been professional. So when I had to make some calls, those relationships you build, the people you're good to, the people you're kind to, though that pays off, and people know you to be, someone who they can trust or hopefully trust, someone who's good to them and has never really asked much of anything. I don't ask much of people. I just show up and do my job, and I ask them how to do my job to the best ability. That's why I might ask you. But other than that, I think people had a faith in me that I am eternally grateful for, that allowed me, that poured into the equity that I have now to be able to do something like this. So it was a matter of knowing who to call, how to call, when to call, facilitating. But once again, I can't put everything on my,
There it is.
There it is. That's the one. That is the main event of ASÉ, December 1st at the Grady Cole Center. You guys want to come out and check that one out. It's going to be a lot of lariats, a lot of back fists, a lot of suplexes, a lot of submissions.
I am so. Sam is the one who introduced me to Trish Adora. We first started doing this, and I'm going back.
$100 million.
No, I really do.
Oh, wow.
I know, that's no kidding. That's our first year together. She got me into all the extra stuff around Mania weekend. And, oh man.
Oh yeah, I told her I was like, you need to watch For the Culture because you're gonna see some amazing talent.
We're like, you need to see For the Culture. You need to get in there. You need to watch these things. She's right. I've never gone back.
Hold on a minute. You said that she got introduced to her via For the Culture. Was it the first one?
I think it might have been. We started.
Did you do it during pandemic?
Yep.
So it was him versus Trish for this.
Yes.
And man,
a good match. One of my favorite matches he's ever had.
Yes.
One of my favorite matches he's ever had.
Oh my gosh, my wrestling life is coming full circle right before my.
And the thing about.
See,
the thing
this
about
is what
Trish,
you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
it's right there.
And the thing about Trish having that match with her, because that's the first time that it's a trilogy, so we've had three, counting the three-way.
Okay,
but
that was writing that down.
And I ever had a singles, and I went in underestimating, and I ain't know a lot of people will look at her, and it's just very obviously a very beautiful woman, very athletic. This, that, and the third. I don't think people realize the power that she has on her. Like when she throws strikes, when she gets you for a suplex. I had to learn a lesson that day. Like I got humbled very much that evening. So it's
gonna be such an awesome. That's like a '90s strong style women's match from like All Japan or something.
Absolutely,
you see the video.
That is like that. I mean, that I'm excited. I'm so excited. I buy the show just for that. You're right.
Thank you.
And the thing is, this is what he's talking about with having a different lens, because sometimes with the lenses that are out there, they're just not seeing that match to be able to pull that out of the ether.
Yeah,
right.
You know, you talked about the conversation earlier with PWX happening and the circumstances. A lot of that is lack of perspective and knowing what you have and what people mean to somebody else. You know, maybe you don't have the perspective of seeing Trish as the main eventer she is, because maybe you've been taught from day one what a main eventer looks like. But for the people who understand and want to move forward in wrestling and also see the power in a Trish Adora, they go, well, that's my main event right there.
Yeah.
And with them, I say, I agree with you. So let's do it here. You know, where other places might be able to see that. We try to see that at ASÉ. Yeah.
I'm so glad you're going to this, Sam, because I need to live vicariously.
I will believe me. The following show after that, I will have come back with a full report.
Awesome.
And since you'll be, and for the people who are streaming it, we'll come talk about it and talk about how amazing it was. And it's just, I'm so excited for this show.
Thank
then we have obviously. Suge will be on this show. He's in it's Georgia versus North Carolina. It's a 4-person match on each side. It's all wrestlers. It's so funny because all wrestlers I'm familiar with, and a lot of them have come through PWX, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're technically from Georgia because I saw them so often. It just felt like they were from here in Charlotte because I saw them so much, and I'm like, oh, actually. And so I was like, okay, I will be, of course, you know, obviously I'm from North Carolina. The show's happening in North Carolina, so I am Team North Carolina. But Team Georgia, y'all got a good team, and I know y'all are gonna. If I will be this, I can't wait for this one.
I'm just so glad that we live in a time when we can watch it. Like I can watch it.
And that match was gonna be interesting because it's like you have 8 very distinctly different styles of wrestling and personalities in that match. The only thing that kind of binds everything together is 4 people pay their taxes in this zip code, 4 people pay their taxes in that zip code. So that's
I will say though, Team North Carolina is loaded with a lot of friends. People don't realize this. Maybe they do. But, you know, Team North Carolina, Rayhan and Tejas, Ian Maxwell, the Gifted One, Movie Mike, these guys trained together. This was, you know, I started training with George South 2012 and left 2013 when I went to college. You know, then we never really leave George, but now full time, day to day every week. I went to college and I couldn't make it back every week. But I remember I was gone for months in school, and when I came back, there were those 4 guys learning how to wrestle, and I had never seen these dudes before. And they were full of personality, full of hunger, full of eagerness. And I watched them work from nothing and to now. You know, Movie Mike transforming his body to like being Jack now, and he was the most unathletic person I've ever seen when he walked through the door. I thought I was not when I started, but Movie Mike could not drop kick past someone's kneecap, and now he's getting clear in people's heads. So these guys have seen each other grow together for 8-9 years of their career, all their entire career they've been together. So this is a team that you guys are going to have to find some synergy in order to take on.
So that's a very great PR campaign that you put on for the North Carolina team. So I'm going to do one of my own. Okay.
Go right ahead.
I know the pedigree of like a Trevor Aeon and Ashton Starr, a Owen Knight. Owen Knight, Ashton Starr, WWA 4 OGs, and you know all they do is put out hitters. Trevor Aeon is probably one of the most underrated wrestlers that's out there. It's literally one of those cases where they just don't put him in a position to be able to give him a chance. His aesthetic, his style of wrestling, etc., etc. And it's like I like that ASÉ sees that, understands it. We're gonna give that room to thrive. Me myself, whether it's been what critics have had to say about me or sometimes my own self-assessment of myself, a lot of the times where I or others saw me was not high enough in the estimation. I even was kind of, even before going into this match, wondering if I could make it happen. And making it happen really lit a fire under me because now I'm on my 3rd, 5th, second chance now. You know what I'm saying? But I take it very seriously because, like, you know, the good and the bad of my state, I recognize the talent that's there. I recognize the mecca that Georgia is. You talk about Charlotte. But you know, Atlanta, you know, Augusta, where Tommy Rich won the NWA championship at the Richmond County Civic Center at the time, now the James Brown Civic Center. We got a ton of history as far as Georgia goes. You had to come through Georgia Championship Wrestling if you really wanted to be on, you know, about something.
Of course.
So I understand that they're friends and they've done this and they've trained together, and y'all probably have a little bit more of a synergy. I think Georgia's got a hell of a super team that we put together with everything that's going on. Yeah. We got to go. We're not trying to get embarrassed out here. I got to show everybody why I got this and how I got this.
I was going to say, I do want to use that. You talk about being at the top, and I won't touch it. Don't worry about it. But you talk about being at the top. This puts you at the top, my friend. You are at the top because you have this championship, the Pan-African World Diaspora Wrestling Championship. And it's so beautiful that it's the Pan-African World Diaspora, because by leading a team like with a Trevor Aeon, with an Ashton Starr, with an Owen Knight, you are by proxy leading the diaspora in more ways than one, my friend. So that's what we're able to see, the Pan-African champion leading the Pan-African peoples, the diaspora itself that represent Georgia in this match. And that's such an exciting 8-man tag and moment, cultural moment for me to witness as a friend and a fan and a competitor as well.
And I appreciate that. And two more things. One, I heard what you were saying, Rayhan. I'm not letting it go. I said it on the other, but I'm going to say it here too. I heard what you were saying, Rayhan. You were talking about, Keith Lee and the brunches and stuff like that. We're not here for brunch. I don't care what Keith Lee said about what we got going on. We know our brunch situation is broken, okay? But I'm going to tell you what I'm there to fix. Your attitude, okay? Your attitude about us and what we got going across. I deliver.
I'm here for it.
All right, I deliver. Our brunch don't deliver. I deliver. I got customer service on that canvas. Okay,
this is fantastic. Somebody get Tony Khan on this immediately. I need this to happen right now.
No, not that Keith Lee. The other Keith Lee.
Oh, okay, different Keith Lee.
We're not talking about
the other Keith Lee.
There's two.
The other one. There's two Keith Lees.
Oh my gosh!
One's not a wrestler. The other is the other one is a he's a former MMA
fighter.
Yeah.
Prize fighter, and now he goes out.
Trust me, he's a TikToking food critic. I didn't know it either. I went online one day and I saw Keith Lee trending, and I said, "Oh, Keith Lee's popping. It's over. He's gone viral."
That's how.
I saw
this guy. Now every time I see Keith Lee trending, I'm like, "Which Keith Lee?"
There you go.
Like
I want to see Sugar Dunkerton wrestle Keith Lee. I'm down for that. That'd be fun, right?
Maybe if
you wanted the match, obviously.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen. I'm not saying it couldn't.
I'm not ready for that to happen.
You know what? The world is full of possibilities.
I don't know if I'm ready to wrestle somebody. Like, me and Keith go back. Like, we're good friends, regardless, going back to Beyond Wrestling. But it's one of those situations where it's like, I don't think I'm ready to get tossed halfway into the third row.
Oh.
Yep.
Did we lose them? We might.
It wasn't my fault. It was not on me. I did not do it.
No, I didn't click anything either. I wonder if we lost. We'll give them a minute. Maybe we need to. Hopefully, we can get them back in there because I had a couple more questions for them, and I wanted to read Brad's. Comment. But yeah, so while we're waiting to see if they pop back in, you will be able to watch this show live if you are not in Charlotte. Tickets will be on sale beginning Black Friday, and so for Black Friday, that Saturday and Sunday, you can purchase this show for $10. That's it. You go to ASÉ Wrestling, ASÉWrestling.com, and you will purchase the
here they are.
The show. Okay, we got them back.
Okay.
We got them back.
You're back. Is Rayhan there? Is he pushing y'all off the air?
See, he's trying to sabotage.
That's him. He's like, okay, too long.
Yeah. But the final point that I want to make is I'm glad that all of them have that kind of camaraderie and bond that they have, because along with everything else that they had to learn together, they're going to have to learn how to suck up this loss and lose together and take it like gentlemen when it's all said and done, when they have to say that Georgia are the better man. We may not be the better brunch, but we will be the better man at the Grady Cole Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. All right.
Yeah, there you go. And so Brad, who was watching, he said, being from New York, he doesn't have skin in this match, but he will pull for his guy, Trevor Aeon, and he loves that dude. So.
I love it. Trevor Aeon's amazing. That's where I met New York. You know, it's funny. I first I met Trevor Aeon, we ended up being a tag team in New York for one night.
I remember that show.
Nice. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, cool. One night only. Yeah, I have a lot of one night only tag members, but this one kept coming back, so we can't get rid of him. But
you guys need to do your thing so that you can keep expanding and then come visit Detroit, because there would be so much. We kind of have like, we always have wrestling going on, but I feel like we also have a hole to fill because we kind of had like Evolve shows and stuff that went on here, and that went away, and so our wrestling community kind of went away too. And I know they're all out there, but we don't have anything to be drawn to right now. Yeah, and so
that's true.
Because we always run across each other when we're at like Dynamite shows or whatever.
Yeah, that's been Charlotte's issue now that PWX is.
It's everywhere. I think everywhere there's been serious territory. I mean, Detroit is still. It's not maybe on your level, but Detroit's still a serious territory and had its day too. So.
No, we would.
Motor City, baby.
Yeah. Expansion would be nice, but we have to,
one step at a time. I'm very excited. Thank you guys for coming.
I do have to ask this question because it was brought up on the. Well, I mean, I've seen Shug talk about it before, and then it was brought up on the live today that you were trying to defend this title, this beautiful title you have against one Brian Keith. Could ASÉ be a home for that match in a future show?
I'm fielding a lot of different offers as far as it goes now. I with all due respect to what Darius has got going on, I'd love for it to be an ASÉ show. But I also know trajectories of things that are up ahead and things that are up there. Let me put it this way. At the rate things are going, don't quote me on it, but at the rate things are going, we are closer to probably getting it before the next ASÉ show.
Okay.
And I'll just leave it at that.
Maybe it'll be a rematch then.
The word next is doing a lot of heavy lifting. I don't know if I would start using words like next.
No, I got faith there will be a next. It's just, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't be that way. We go. But
you're always welcome to come back here and talk about it.
Also, shout out to Brian Keith as well too. It just came to my attention that he is.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. That was. Yep, somebody that was sent to the group chat before I came on here. That so if you guys missed the announcement, don't know what we're talking about. Brian Keith has been announced for Progress Wrestling Super Strong Style 16 next May. So that is obviously a very big deal, and he will be busy. And so that's why I know we're trying to get this because I for one want to see Brian Keith versus Sugar Dunkerton. So
and he deserves a shot. Like the fact remains for me. I'm not gonna front. I have a slight chip on my shoulder, baked lays, in regard to wanting to prove, like, look, Trish casts a hell of a shadow. I'm not even going to front with you on that. Every time this comes up, she's had it so long, you can't help but not bring her up. And she's earned that right. But I got to start being able to put my stamp on what's going on here so that when people talk about it, it's the way Ric Flair would cut that promo and be like, the Jack Briscoes and the Terry Funk. There's certain names he would always bring up with the NWA title. Trish is singular in how they bring this up. We need to make room for the conversation about me. And that means I have to seek out the best possible talent I can for this. So Brian Keith fits that bill. I want it. And I'm going to get it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Good. I want it too. Tell me where and I will watch it.
Good.
So going back to some of the stuff with the ASÉ, so we talked a little bit about Loot. So what's the idea of having a musical performance happening before a wrestling show? That's something obviously that's not typically done. And so, what was the idea behind having that and then having Loot be the first the person to do that? I know he's from here, but go ahead and tell us about that.
Well, the idea is just crossover appeal. You kind of want to get new fans to reach wrestling, and there's a lot of people who I know. Everyone loves music. Everyone is kind of has a relationship with music, whether small or large. But that's universal, and there's a lot of people who like music who used to be wrestling fans who've forgotten they're wrestling fans. There's a lot of people who are like music who don't know they're wrestling fans yet. So I figured if they can get them to the building and they see something they like, they might stick around a little bit longer. And now ASÉ gets to live outside of just the confines of pro wrestling, as if they answer to pro wrestling. It gets to be something else on its own. We don't have to do everything every other independent wrestling promotion does, because that's not technically what we are. We're an entertainment company. We're a hub. So putting that forward, it gives new eyes to the product. It brings their audience to us. It brings our audience to them. And it helps both ways. In terms of Loot, that was just in terms of cultural relevancy. The man, you know, he's on tour. He just got off a tour right now, and like I said, I can list his accolades all over again. But if you talk about institutions in music and movements in music, especially talking about North Carolina, Dreamville is one of those things. One of the biggest things. They have the biggest wrestling, not wrestling, but they have the biggest music festival this on the East Coast outside of Something in the Water, and they do it every year during WrestleMania season. So it's like that's a bunch of people who don't even know, you know, that wrestling exists. So let's expose them to something that's not what they think wrestling is. Let's show them a new layer of wrestling, and then give them a new flavor. And go, oh, wrestling can be this. Well, hell, I'm gonna stay. You know, I came for loot, but damn it, you know.
Right.
It's amazing. Yeah, I love this concept. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
No, this is like right in my wheelhouse.
Sweet. Yeah, it's
I'm very excited. Like, I'm so glad that we were able to do this. Like, wow.
And I wanted to ask about.
There's so many. I mean, in the realm that the possibilities are endless.
That's what I like to think.
I see the energy radiating from her screen right now. It's the literal embodiment of that Kevin Hart. So
excited! No, it's fine. It's true. I'm here for it. This is right in my way.
Yeah, it's gonna be fantastic. And so you've got like the people who are involved. So not just the matches. So then you've got Faye Jackson and you know, Billy Dixon and Big Swole are involved, and then we have D'Lo Brown on commentary, which is incredible. And you mentioned on the live having other legends involved in ASÉ. Like, who? I know you can't give away all your secrets, but who would you like to see involved in ASÉ, and what kind of legends would you like to bring in and give flowers to?
I think it's the first answer to that is people who want to be here, people who see the vision, people who see what it can be, and people who want to help us. I don't really want anybody who has to be convinced or to come through for a payday or anything like that. I want a legend who understands that we're ultimately here to serve their legacy and platform them and give them the flowers that they want. So, you know, okay, we started with D'Lo and Aja Kong, but, you know, I would like to show light on some of the other Nation members. I would like to, you know, a couple of them have reached out. I won't say who, but, you know, there's talks of who, you know, I'm facilitating, I'm curating the show, but I can't really run it all the way all the time. I might need some help. So there's talks about general manager spots. You know, we can see some very interesting general managers at ASÉ Wrestling. I in terms of giving flowers, I mean, that's everyone and anyone. It's a matter of time of who is unlisted, who's unplatformed, you know, who hasn't been pedestalized to their proper way. And I think I would like to do that. You know, the Caprice Colemans, the Tuco Scorpios, the Sandy Parkers, the you know, the Bobo Brazils, the even down to the what's our homeboy, Thunderbolt Patterson.
Oh man.
Someone was talking to me, you know.
I saw Scorpio at GCW. He wrestled Minoru Suzuki. It was like, I was so glad I got to see that match.
Amazing. I didn't know that match happened, but that's beautiful.
GCW. Fortunately, again, like, Detroit is a territory, so if you look hard enough, you can find, as John Muse likes to say, you know, you can find a wrestling show somewhere in Detroit. Like I mean, it may be all kinds of different things, but I think because the spheres are similar and because like all territories have those histories, I think that it will just fit right into everybody's wheelhouse. Very glad you guys have the capability and like are willing to be streaming it.
Yeah,
I the like best way to do it. Like, I mean, to share.
No issue. I like you continuously campaigning for Detroit, by the way.
Oh, yeah, she said this is a wrestling.
This is like, I feel like it's when they to come. Right.
It's a wholly selfish thing. I like live wrestling shows more than just about. I like going to Ren fairs and live wrestling shows just about more than anything in my entire life. So, I believe you could like have the both on the same grounds. Like, this would be a perfect. You guys could totally run like right next door to a festival.
Yeah.
And Ren fair people, because it's intersectional, and they just walk right over to there's a lot of fairs that are getting groups like combat groups into their situation where they're like asking groups similar to what you guys, the vision that you're talking about, are coming in, and it's like, look, we can do wrestling, but it's like Ren fair kind of, but it's like wrestling. And so
It's a lot of overlap, right? We gotta start advertising.
Yeah. Charlotte has a great Renaissance festival, so you guys should.
Do you know when it is? Is it next couple weeks?
I think it runs October, like early October, and then I think it runs till like the weekend before Thanksgiving. Generally,
girl, I will go there tomorrow and pass out flyers.
She is over there like
oh, do it! No, that's a great idea. That is a good idea.
And like we got wrestling here, all that other stuff too, man. You know what I'm saying? I would kill to do like I would love for like this is like 3rd or 4th year ASÉ. We do that ASÉ / Ren Fair, you know what I'm saying? And then we all get like we have like a medieval themed show.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do that.
There's a guy who tags us sometimes. His name is Sir something, but
Merrick Donovan.
He would fit right into that.
Yeah, he would be a top draw.
There is enough crossover, definitely, especially right now because of the way wrestling is and the access. Like you guys, believe me, like I know that.
There you go.
I mean, we are like. My if I win the Powerball dream would be to open a wrestling or a Ren Fair, and we would have a wrestling venue. Like
that'd be sick.
It just because you can run wrestling all year, you can't run Ren Fair all year. So.
I'm trying to get my Booker T voice on for that show.
Do it.
I see him.
King Booker.
The possibility. I love it. That's why I'm so excited about it because it's like, yay!
A Ren Fair pro wrestling show with King Booker as the general manager.
Oh yeah, you have to have it.
My brain.
Yeah, you gotta have.
Do you wish to joust with King Booker?
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Oh, yeah. All right, but I'm sorry. I'll let you guys continue.
No, you guys no.
That'll be that's a 3rd year, like he's at 3rd or 4th year ASÉ.
Yeah, he's already seen
it's okay though, because that's good. You have short-term goals and long-term goals. That's the best thing. You know your product's good. You just got to build it up. And you guys got a great foundation already because you got such a great community that's just hungry for it.
Yeah. And
when I hit 1339 on this, then we can start talking about, you know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
There you go.
Ultimate wrestling match.
Yeah. Yeah. A rematch, right?
We have obviously this incredible group of people who will be on the show. How did you pick which talent? Because there's so much great talent out there, especially just even in the Carolinas and in Georgia, and we've seen that Southern wrestling get slept on a lot. And so how did you curate that these are the wrestlers that you wanted involved for the very first presentation of what ASÉ is?
Understanding and remembering what ASÉ is, like reminding myself of the foundation of what I'm trying to bring to you all, and understanding who highlights that and how we can make the card as diverse as possible. I want people to know that wrestling is a lot of people's first time interacting with professional wrestling. So I want them to see professional wrestling in as many lights as they can. It can be technically proficient. It can be, bombastic. It can be a fight. It can be inclusive as possible. It can, prioritize as women. It can prioritize as queer community. It can do all these things and make people have a safe space. So I kind of picked the people that I thought would definitely suggest to showcase that this is a safe space for anyone who wants to come and vibe with us. This is a card full of people that any kind of talent in terms of a technician, a high flyer, a powerhouse that can thrive here. There's a space for it here. And ultimately, I wanted the cast of characters who people, will remember at the end of the day and be like, I didn't just watch a bunch of guys do moves for 15 minutes. I went there and I saw Yaya, and I loved the way he made me laugh right before he jumped over the top rope. I went and saw Sugar Dunkerton, and he inspired me right before he tapped somebody out. I want people to have these moments and remember who these people are. And I picked a cast in a roster that can all people who are personalities who can get over and who can leave someone to go home with and eat a little bit more. Like think about people who stay in people's minds. I felt that was staying power is a really important element of this. And also people who need opportunity. That was important to me too. Highlighting folks to go, hey man, you're dope. People don't get it. And I get it. So let's get other people to get it together. You know what I mean? That's a big part of this too.
Yeah.
I'm tired of waiting on people to get it.
Yeah. You got to show up. For the people who will be in attendance live, are there going to be like meet and greet opportunities? Is that something we need to keep an eye on for the ASÉ show, or is this just a come sell your merch? And
yeah. We originally had talked about that with other talents that unfortunately cannot make the show now. However, in terms of meet and greets with other various talents, it's all a matter, I hate to sound like this, but it's really a matter of what I personally have time to facilitate and structure with my team.
Okay.
I am doing a lot of this myself. Most of the videos you see on YouTube, I'm editing myself. I'm uploading them myself. I'm tweeting and Instagramming all the stuff that I'm interacting with you. I'm talking to you if you see the Instagram page or the Twitter page. So, and that plus the flyering and filming and everything, I'm filming it too. So it's a lot of what I have the bandwidth for to facilitate right now. But I would love to do that if there's a big interest in fans. I haven't really heard a big thing of fans clamoring for meet and greets. But if that is a big interest and it's something they would be interested in, I get some kickback on it, then I'm willing to do it and willing to have that conversation and make it work.
Yeah.
In these couple weeks,
Yeah, and tell the people because if you guys are not following ASÉ on social media, you should be. They're everywhere, but they've got a really cool. We'll talk about how to get tickets, but also before that, especially if you're in the Charlotte area or can make it to Charlotte, tell them about the giveaway that you've got going on.
Right on. I love that. Thank you. We're giving away a free PlayStation 5. I purchased it months ago. It's been sitting in my closet, just doing nothing but collecting dust, ready to go to the next person who's willing to help support ASÉ. And we're not giving it away until we reach our subscriber count on YouTube. We reach 1,200 people. When we reach 1200, when we reach that number, I will be willing to give these out away, even if it's after the show. And I originally advertised 2 free tickets with it. You'll just have to get 2 free tickets to the next show. But we're not giving this thing away until we get to our subscriber count at 1,200. And what you can do, how you can win that PlayStation 5, is you go to any post on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, any post that we've talked about this PS5. And what you do is you comment underneath, you put hashtag ASÉ PS5, and you tag 3 people that you think should come to ASÉ, should watch ASÉ at home, should be a part of it, would appreciate it. You tag those 3 people and you subscribe to our YouTube. That's 3 things. The hashtag, the 3 people, the subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's 3 things I'm asking you to do. They're all free. It takes probably less than a minute to do all 3 back to back. You do those things, you are eligible to win the PlayStation 5. We're giving away at random. It's really just a matter of clicking the hashtag. Hashtag's important and seeing who all is tagged the hashtag. If you know hashtag, no PS3. No 3 people, no PS5. No 3 people, no PS5. No subscription, no PS5. You have to have all 3 things. And once you do that, we can get it to you. I'll mail it myself. I'm paying for shipping, baby. Listen, I'm gonna get it to you. You just gotta subscribe. That's all you gotta
listen.
do.
And Darius pointed this out on his live. You probably have a better chance to get this PS5 through this giveaway than you do going to the store. Especially it's Christmas season right now.
We got odds, man.
I'm looking at it like we know we have stopped. It's one, but it's stopped. I'm looking at it.
That's right.
So
and it's a simple way to get it.
It's a way to get it. Subscribe.
And this ain't no cinder block in the box. Everything is intact where it need to be. All that other stuff like that. But this is not a hustle.
It's not a drill.
It's not.
It's a game. It's real. It's real. It's real. So so you can go get PS5 by doing all that, and also we're having a great series of Rayhan and Tejas has been kind of knocking these Everett College commercials. Trying to poke some fun and get some laughter going with it, but those are ultimately don't look at those and think it's a scam. It's legit. We are giving away a PS5. Those are funny, but we are being serious. We're giving a PS5, so please join us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we can get that to you, man. Maybe if you're one of the lucky ones.
Yes, for sure. And then for the people who are not in Charlotte or cannot make it to the first ASÉ show, how can they watch this?
So starting November 24th on Black Friday, I believe that's the right date, 24th, maybe not 25th, but Black Friday, it's the 24th.
We all know when it is.
November 24th, Black Friday, starting then at midnight. What you can do is, if you go to ASÉWrestling.com, you click the tab, watch ASÉ, there will be a direct, a purchasable item right there. What you do is you're purchasing the link to the show. So what you do is you click the item, you check out like you do, and once you check out, you'll be given a downloadable link right there. You download the link. When it opens up, you click the link. The link will take you right over to YouTube to our private stream that you cannot get without purchasing the link, and you watch the show right there. Only $10. It's $10 starting Black Friday. If you wait till Monday to get it after Black Friday weekend, it's $15, but it's not that much more. We try to give you a little deal, a little steal. You know what I mean? So for $10, you just go to the page, watch ASÉ, pay for it, download it, click the link, boom, that's it. 3 steps. That's it. Very simple. That's how you get the show. Watch ASÉ at ASÉWrestling.com. So, yeah.
Okay. Suge, where can well, actually, before I do this part, is there anything else that you guys want to tell the people about ASÉ?
It is December 1st at the Greater Cole Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. And it's going to be a great time. We got music. We got a live DJ playing all through the night. So even when Luke's not on stage, you'll still get your jam on. It's hosted by Big Swole, personality of personalities. Billy Dixon's appearing. Faye Jackson's appearing. Darius Carter versus Jonathan Gresham might be the technical masterpiece of the year. And that's a year that Bryan Danielson wrestles Zack Sabre Jr. So I'm saying a lot. We're still these are things that can happen. Trisha Dora versus Aja Kong. Joshi Legends in the making versus Joshi Legend herself colliding right there. You don't want to miss it, y'all. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to be a big time. We're going to have a good time. I got a few more surprises up my sleeve. I'll be there addressing my future in pro wrestling. Why would you want to miss it?
And mind you, also, North Carolina versus Georgia.
North Carolina
versus Georgia. Mind you, listen, especially in this era of social media, you guys ask for stuff. And I'm not saying that's the issue that you do. But you ask for stuff, you say you want stuff, you say you want something different, you say you need this to happen. I wish somebody would do this. I wish somebody would go that out. I wish I could get a PS5 for free. So, look, as far as the ASÉ situation goes, this is literally an answer to a lot of questions and wants and, I guess, needs that some of y'all are putting out there. So it's like, it's out here. Do what you can, whether it's the stream, whether it's being there. Please be there to support this because that's how things grow. If you don't like what's out there in the world and somebody is offering you an alternative, it is on you to nourish and water the plant that is this alternative. You want a PS5. This is literally the easiest way that you can go about getting a PS5 at this point. Yeah. Like, seriously. People make jokes all the time about finessing their way into a PS5. It's legal. Right? It's simple. It's doing something that you already wanted to do to begin with. Like this right here, we need y'all as much as y'all need it. So we doing our part. We're bringing what we need to bring to it. We need y'all to meet us halfway. Well it's said. Not just a Fergie song. Well all right.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, for sure. And Mel, before I ask them, Mel, do you have anything that you want to ask them? I know we covered a lot today.
No, that's great. I think that is a great,
very gracious with their time today.
They have been very gracious. I am behind this 100%. I can't wait. I'm excited. This is gonna succeed because it needs to because it's the right thing and the right time.
I love
and I'm so excited because I just and Sam's going, so I actually get to I can feed off of her positive energy.
Absolutely. I love the energy of every time. I love the energy of saying it's going to succeed because you know what? Every time you say ASÉ, it will. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Exactly.
So ASÉ Wrestling, December 1st, Greater Cole Center, Charlotte, North Carolina. PS5 out there in the books, ready to go.
Gotta get that PS5.
That's right.
ASÉ Wrestling.
Damn, this is serious. PS5s are serious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brad says he can't wait for the show. He's going to be making the Black Friday purchase for the link, always supporting his favorites, which we appreciate. And so before you guys go, Suge, where can the people find you?
At Sugar Dunkerton on Twitter, at Sugar Dunkerton, FASHO, pronounced Sugar Dunkerton for show. On Instagram, my email is sugardunkertonbro@gmail.com. Please, all business related stuff. I prefer the DMs or the emails, whatever, as long as we can get to the work. I'm grateful and thankful that I've been around this long and able to still be able to be impactful. I hope to be as impactful as long as my knees, my neck, and my heart will allow me to. And don't forget, 1,200 subscribers, which if you
That's
add...
your magic number.
Hold on. I got some math for you. Easy way to remember. 1,200 subscribers. If you add 138 to that, that makes 1,338, which is Trish Adora's number, which I'm going to break by adding one more to it. So 1,339.
So that's the next goal. Once we get ASÉ to 1,200, the next goal is the 1,339.
You got to get past Brian Keith first and O'Shea Everett.
You sound
Oh no, I'm not drawing. I think you can do it. I'm just letting you know what's ahead of you. So you know, we got it's a lot. I think what I'm trying to get at is the subscribers takes less work than it takes to get to 13.
And it's a lot of damn work.
It's a lot of damn work, but it's worth it.
It is a lot of damn work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki said she can't wait for December 1st. Can't come soon enough. And Darius, where can they find you and ASÉ?
You can find me on Twitter at DLockPro. You can find me on Instagram at Darius Lockhart. Actually, if you go to DariusLockhart.com, all my social links are attached to it. I have my own website. You can just do it there. Same thing for ASÉ. ASÉWrestling.com has all the links to our social medias, but we're at ASÉ Wrestling on every single platform you can imagine. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on TikTok, we're on, Twitter, or X, whatever you want to
Black
call
Planet.
it. Friday, Facebook.
Right.
We're on. We got a MySpace account.
ICQ.
We got I got a Netflix account. It's all at wrestling. It's all at ASÉ Wrestling. All at ASÉ Wrestling.
Yeah, and if you guys are watching this live on the live stream, we'll have the audio later. But if you're already here and you subscribe to the Fight Game Media YouTube channel, just when this is over, just hop right on over to ASÉ Wrestling and go ahead and subscribe. You're already here watching us.
You're already here.
You're one step.
You're on
one step
YouTube.
closer to a PS5. All you got to do, and then you go look through the videos that are there and find the ones that are related to the PS5, and you just comment your 3 people, and you're already in.
There you go. There you go. All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you
guys.
so much.
Please
Thank you
come
guys
back.
for your time, and I will see you guys on December the 1st.
All right. Looking forward to it.
All right,
see you
y'all.
there.
You got this. I'm so excited.
Thank you so much.
Have fun.
Thank y'all.
All right.
I don't know if we're getting closed off.
Here you go.
I think I
got it.
Oh,
wait, do we put it back? Okay, sorry. I thought we were both doing it at the same time. Brad says that fantastic interview, so much fun. Yeah, I'm so excited that we got that. It was funny because I was watching Darius was on the on his they were on the I was watching their Instagram live and Suge was there and I was like, hey, if Suge's down for it, let's get Suge on here too. So very happy to have both of them, and I'm so excited for the show. And the more they talk about it and the more I keep watching videos, the more excited I get. And I'm so glad now that I'm glad that I get to experience live, but I'm so glad that people are going to be able to have the opportunity to watch the show and that you guys can watch it too, which is fantastic. And so we will put up the stuff for that again, but go to ASÉWrestling.com and you can purchase that. So make sure on Black Friday or that Black Friday weekend, you can get it for $10. And then even after that, on Monday, if you got to wait, because we know with the economy and other Christmas gifts, $15 for that. I mean, $15 for just to watch Aja Kong versus Trish Adora. I mean, what a deal, but all of it's good. And so we want to support those lovely people. So if you are able to, definitely do that. Make sure you follow them on their social media. Definitely like them on YouTube. We talk about all the time about how you guys following us. Oh, look. Yep. There we go. Mel got us up there. If you want to follow
some
Darius
of them on here. I
Lockhart,
didn't get everything, but I did
Twitter.
get some of it. So here, let me put this one up here because this actually, I was on this site earlier, has all their links to social right at the top. So that really is a great spot to go to because that's where I found all of the information that I'm popping, popping up on the screen here. And I'm very excited for that show. That's fantastic.
I cannot wait. And he's
so glad you were able to get them to come see us.
Me too. Yeah, I'm glad they were able to come on and and he's promising surprises. I was like, what else is there? We're already getting this amazing show.
It's a great card.
So I can't wait. And so the Sunday, so the show is on a Friday. It's on Friday, December the 1st. And so the Sunday before we'll definitely preview that show so that we'll talk about it a little bit more. But yeah, if you're here watching, because we talk about all the time on this, how liking, subscribing, commenting helps us. So if you could do the same for our friends over at ASÉ Wrestling, we would greatly appreciate it. Those are good people, and we want to show them love and support because we want places like ASÉ to exist. And that helps with you. And then, I mean, they're very honest about it. Getting to 1,200 helps them monetize their content, and they put out a lot of really great content over there. Like they've been doing, Darius mentioned that they've done 2 shows where they've had a live DJ performing, and they like it's kind of like a cloth. On the cloth, they pop up pictures of like wrestlers and stuff like that, and post clips of them wrestling to the mute. Like it's very cool. And they're putting up that type of content. They're putting up promos for their matches. They're putting if you're not familiar with some of the talent, they're introducing talent through like clips on social media and through YouTube. So like definitely go support them, because we said we want them to succeed, and the more places like this the better. And so we definitely want to show them some love. And so if you're here, and then if you're listening to this on the audio later, make sure that you go subscribe to them and follow them on all their social media, because it definitely helps, and it's a free way to support.
And we will obviously, and have been doing the retweeter and regramming and all of that other kind of sharing on our various social media platforms that we have at Powerbomb Shells. So, which I'm pretty sure we are at Powerbomb Shells on all the relevant platforms people give a hoot about right now.
Yes. Brad said, Brad makes a really great point. It's not going to be just a great show, but also an important show.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm super excited. I love the idea of doing this, because it's sort of in line with something that, just like I was saying to them, is that it's in line with something that we've thought about for a long time, is that we would definitely want the communities are very similar in the way that they cover the vast spectrum of human beings and their interests and points of view. And they also, it's like, gosh, the community around these things are so great. It's just great. The people are awesome. It's so much fun. We need it more than ever.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about it too, about how, like, I mean, wrestling started on it. That's where the term carny comes from, because wrestling started on the carnival circuit and stuff like that. So there is a lot of overlap, and a lot of the history dates back to this. So a lot of this stuff with Ren Fair does overlap because of where wrestling got its start.
Carny culture, the festival, the carnival, the strongman, love it.
Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of that. So, so we do have some actual other wrestling things to talk about. I mean, that would have been a great show. We could have just stopped it right there and just been like, all right, see you Saturday.
I'm so glad. I appreciate greatly their time. You'll have to.
Yeah, no, me too. And then we got Suge on there too. That was unexpected.
Yeah, no, that was really cool.
Love Suge. Love that guy.
So you guys can't miss out on this stuff if you don't like watch our show or subscribe to our Patreon. You never get these like special extras here.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll talk about a couple of things that happened this week. One of the things that I do want to talk about.
What happened this week, Sam?
So we saw on Wednesday on Dynamite, we saw Samoa Joe. We got a big, meaty men slapping meat match, which I was all for. We had Samoa Joe defending the ROH Television Championship against Keith Lee, because the Thursday prior, Samoa Joe, which we talked about on the show last week, Samoa Joe broke the record to become the longest reigning ROH television champion of all time, but he was not on Honor Club when this happened. Nowhere to be found. So then I believe it was on Collision, not Rampage. So they were talking to him backstage, and he was like talking about his new record that he broke, and he's like, I've pretty much faced everybody. And Keith Lee appears, and he's like, you haven't faced me before.
Right.
So of course this match does not happen on Honor Club, because why would it?
Why would an ROH belt or ROH storyline take place on an ROH TV show? That doesn't make any sense.
Right. Yeah. So why would we do that? So we got this lovely match, which was fantastic. And then so Samoa Joe retains, and then immediately afterwards he vacates the title.
Yeah.
He wants to set his sights on MJF and the AEW World Championship. That part I don't have an issue with. Go Chase. You should have anybody in wrestling should have their eyes set on the World Championship. But the way they handled the TV title is what really bothers me. I think that's because I saw some people, they're like, well, why are they mad at Samoa Joe for wanting to go after that title? That's not what we're mad at.
No.
We're not mad at that. It's the fact that they could have done several different things with this title, and it just comes off as they don't care about ROH, which we know we've talked about. Tony's plate is very full. He's got a lot going on. There is Collision, and sure, and I've seen people make the argument with like, well, Tony shouldn't have bought ROH. I disagree because I feel like if WWE bought ROH wouldn't exist at all, and their library would be hidden away on Peacock, and they don't care. The buying ROH would just be another property for them and another way to bring in income. Tony, and I know at times it feels like Tony doesn't care about ROH. I think he does. I think he's just got a lot going on, and he's got to figure out a way to make ROH more viable. And we've talked about all the problems that comes with it, but I feel like Tony is still the correct person to own ROH because I feel like he does care about its history and things like that. And he is a really big wrestling fan, and he knows that ROH fans are people who really love the promotion. And now we have access through Honor Club to all of these things. I mean, there are still there, from what a lot of people have said, and I'm sure Brad can attest to this, that there's stuff that's missing from the ROH library right now through Honor Club. But I would much rather it be in Tony's hands than WWE's hands or / TKO Holdings hands. But so back to this situation. So he just lays the title down and was like, I'm vacating the title. Why didn't they just have Keith Lee win the match?
I have no idea.
That was the most simple thing that they could have done, was just to have Keith Lee take the title right then and there. And
then move him to ROH TV, you think?
It wouldn't have. Well, the way ROH is defended, ROH titles are defended on AEW on a regular basis, except for Athena's title. So there's that argument. They could.
That's because we can't have two ladies match on the Dynamite.
Right. I wouldn't want Keith Lee to be a transitional champion. However, if they wanted, they could have just had Keith Lee hold on to the title until Final Battle, which is December the 15th.
Right.
Again, I wouldn't want him. I wouldn't be thrilled with it, but I think that's better than vacating the title. And I know that the whole reason they kept doing this is because they wanted Samoa Joe to break the title, and they wanted him to be the longest reigning ROH champion, television champion of all time. But it feels like Samoa Joe doesn't give a damn about A, the title, and B, the record. And Nikki made the point that she's like, I think it's just his character. And she was like, I think the character is just like, okay, I'm moving on to big and better things. But it just comes off the way it feels. It's just, I don't give a shit about this title. This title is meaningless. Well, now you've just devalued a title for whoever is next, when you could have just put it on Keith Lee. What they really should have done, if they weren't trying to get the record, then Shane Taylor should have won the title at All Out. He should have pulled the upset.
Yes. I mean, I feel like they should have done that anyway.
Yeah, they should have. He could have pulled the upset. It would have made Shane Taylor, for the people who know Shane Taylor is people aren't familiar with him who the first time they saw him was at All Out. That would have been a star-making moment for him. It would have been a big deal that that Shane Taylor beat Samoa Joe. That's a dream match that a lot of fans have been wanting for a really long time. And to have Shane Taylor win that title would have been the correct call. And looking back at it, I think that would have been the correct call. And I know the only reason he lost is because they were going for this record. And then Brad said, I've seen this comment, something similar. Brad said, with TNA coming back, Joe thought he was still there and cashed in for option C. Exactly. So, and then if they didn't want to put the title on Keith Lee because they didn't want him on our club, they had two really great options. Dalton Castle has been wanting that TV title. He's been talking about it in promos for weeks, is how he wants that title back. And Dalton Castle would have been Dalton Castle, I think, for a lot of people is synonymous with ROH, especially from the last few years. Dalton Castle is it's a fan favorite. I mean, last night you heard it on Collision.
I love him. They were chanting for him so much. I was like,
Dalton Castle is a huge star, and I do want to see him on TV more, but make him your TV champion, and he probably will.
There's
be
someone
because,
that's perfect for it. That's a layup. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's super popular, crossover popular. You could have done it. Him and the boys have been on a couple times, like you said. They were chanting for him last night, which I loved. You totally could have put the TV championship on him.
Yeah, absolutely. And then their other option is Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe's dream. He's talked about it so many times. His dream.
He hasn't gotten it yet.
Yeah, his dream is to become the ROH television champion. Mark Briscoe just came back 2 weeks ago. They could have had Samoa Joe hold on to this title until Final Battle and had Mark Briscoe win it. It's very obvious, but it's a very simple story. It's a story that people would have been fine with. People who are ROH fans want Mark Briscoe to have that title. Send the fans home happy. Give him the title. Or there's the other option of making Samoa Joe. You can make him Samoa Joe 2 belts again. He held both the television title and the AEW the TNT title. He held them at the same time. So why can't he hold the ROH television title and potentially the world championship?
MJF has the tag team titles and the world championship belt in AEW.
So Samoa Joe could have easily done the same thing. So, and it felt like, so after the show, they announced, ROH tweeted out, and it was like, tune in tomorrow night to see the fate of the ROH television championship. So we're thinking, okay, when we all expected, we're like, oh, Tournament Tony's going to strike again. We've already had earlier this year, we had a tournament to pick Samoa Joe's his opponent for Supercard, I believe it was Supercard of Honor. Then not Supercard of Honor, for Death Before Dishonor. Then they did another tournament to get another number 1 contender. So that's what they do with this TV title. And Tony loves this tournament. So that's what we assumed was going to happen. Well, I haven't had a chance to watch ROH yet because I was at dinner with my dad, but I did see, because I saw some tweets about it, they made an announcement to have an announcement next week so tune into Honor Club next week to find out. So it feels like Samoa Joe vacating felt like it's done hastily, that they just all of a sudden were like, we're going to have you vacate the title and don't worry about what happens to it afterwards. We're getting this title off of you right now. Again, you should have just had Keith Lee win if that's the case. That it just feels like, so not only does Samoa Joe vacating it and just leaving it and not being on Honor Club when he breaks the record feel like he doesn't care about the title, but now it feels like, and now it feels like nobody, the ROH doesn't care about it, because now we can't even get a tournament figured out, or we can't figure out how we're gonna, maybe we'll have Dalton Castle and Mark Briscoe were the 2 who wanted this title. We'll have a match and determine the winner. Like you could have done. It's very simple. They could have done that. My guess is they're going to do a tournament, and then the title will, the champion will be crowned at Final Battle, because it's December,
which is the end of the end of the year one.
Yep, and that's the final ROH pay-per-view of the year, and then the next one is Supercard of Honor in March. So they could have done it then. Let's see. Brad says, from some things I've heard, Maria and Chris Hero have a big hand in booking ROH now, which it feels like they are. I'd almost rather it be separate from AEW at this point and let those 2 cook. I hope Maria and Chris Hero are very involved in the booking of ROH, because they are 2 of the people who are closely associated with that brand. Tony clearly has other things to focus on, and I would rather
say Tony needs to back off. He needs to. Yeah. He's just doing too much. There's too much, and it's clear that he's doing too much now. It's caught up to him, because you can see what's going on with AEW television. You can see what's going on with ROH television. It's very frustrating.
It is very frustrating. And ROH, I will say, has improved in the last few weeks. It's because it had gotten kind of off the rails a little bit, and where it was just, there was no, other than Athena, there was not really, there are a couple other stories going on. And then they kind of, like, they had a story that was going on where basically the Righteous and Dark Order were fighting over Stu Grayson, and then it just kind of stopped. Like it just kind of ended, and Stu Grayson hasn't been seen in weeks. I don't know if he's injured or anything like that, maybe, but and then the Righteous have been kind of back and forth between Raw and ROH, which we've
I'm
seen.
gonna start calling it squirrel booking. Squirrel.
Yeah, right. And it's how it feels. And but
it's,
you know,
I mean, he does it with both sides. He does it with ROH, he does it with the other. He starts to heat a guy up or tag team up, and then all of a sudden it's like, squirrel, I'm going back over here and I'm doing this thing. Like, I'm gonna start calling it that. I think that's how I feel right now. He's like a ping pong or a pinball right now.
Yeah, and so again, so maybe there is some truth to the stuff that Maria and Chris Hero have had a hand in booking, and maybe that's why ROH has started to get back on track, and it's starting to feel like ROH was a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and it feels like they're trying to recalibrate and kind of refocus and things like that. And so I think, you know, Final Battle will be a good, hopefully, kind of obviously close out this year, but kind of push things into 2024 and the things that we can start seeing. I mean, there is the possibility that Athena drops the title at Final Battle this year, which would obviously set a lot of things in motion for the women's division, especially if it is going to be Billie Starkz, if she is the one to dethrone her, which kind of seems like that's where they're going with this. But then you've got so now we've got to, hopefully, I assume we're going to crown a new television champion, probably somebody who's in ROH often, which again, Dalton Castle is right there. Mark Briscoe is right there. Shane Taylor is right there. There's a lot of things that they could do with it. I hope that whoever gets the TV title back can put make it where it seems like it's a meaningful title again, because the way that Samoa Joe has handled it, he just kind of devalued it, and it really bothers me that I'm like, you're the champion who broke the longest record, and then you just toss it away like it doesn't mean anything to you. Like, you got your date, you got your milestone, and now you don't need it anymore, which is whatever. It's fine if you want to go for MJF, but put the title on somebody else. Build somebody else up on the way out, which I think is another argument that I've seen, and I agree with it. He didn't really do anything. I mean, Samoa Joe is great. I love Samoa Joe, huge Samoa Joe fan, but he didn't build up anybody in this title reign. He was wrestling established wrestlers for the most part. He didn't build up anybody, which is, again, going back to why Shane Taylor should have won it All Out. Is Shane Taylor is somebody that you, again, for us who are familiar with Shane Taylor, like, we know how good he is, but for the people who aren't very familiar with him, he would have been a made man that night. He would have been that would have just rocketed him to a whole other level.
For the belt. It makes the belt mean nothing when he has the record and then just vacates it. You may as well have ended the belt. You were going to do that. Yeah. Say, you know what? We're dissolved. He's finally got it, and he's the ultimate champion, and then we're done with this TV championship, like New Japan did with the Intercontinental or whatever.
Right.
But
now it sounds like the Intercontinental.
It might come back
on the
way
back,
I know.
which I hope it is, because I love that title.
Whatever.
So it's just
coming.
Yeah, it's really frustrating. It just feels like especially with everything else going in ROH, where they don't feel like they give a damn except for outside of Athena, and then they don't put Athena on AEW television, which there's that, that whole argument we've had many times, but you just
think it would have been better to have him, if he was even just doing it, do you think it would have been better if he was going to vacate it, for him to do it on ROH TV and have them show something on Collision?
Yes.
Instead of doing Dynamite and then having an announcement about another announcement that's not an announcement.
Yeah, I think
announcement about an announcement.
I would say he should have vacated it in ROH, just because, again, so now the whole thing is, I don't give a shit about ROH. I wasn't there when I broke the title. I mean, when I broke the record, I haven't defended it on Honor Club in weeks. It's been months at this point. I didn't drop the title to anybody. I vacated it, and I didn't even have the decency to do it on Honor Club.
Oh, I guess they can't do that because of the way they tape the thing. But I mean, they also could. Why not have him just come in? And I mean, if he's just going to vacate it, he could just waltz into ROH. I feel like if he had vacated it on ROH TV and they had played a package on Collision the following Saturday, that would have been better than doing it on Dynamite. And
they film
having
ROH
a fake announcement on the ROH TV where it's like, the announcement was watch Dynamite next week, basically.
Or it
like,
was Watch Honor Club next week. Turn into Honor Club next
okay.
week. So it's still happening on. Well, supposedly it's happening on Honor Club, but still, But it just felt like, well, if this was
can you trust him at this point? He's starting to get to the point where he's losing my like. I mean, you've done this to me enough that I'm starting to get like little boy who cried wolf vibes about these announcements. Like, cut it out,
the announcements
bro.
don't mean anything anymore. And like, even like last night, like the way they handled the announcement of the round robin tournament that they're doing, the Continental, what is it?
International, whatever.
No, it's the Continental something or other. But like that, the way they handled that was fine. Like that was, I mean, he didn't make a huge announcement for it, but like he could, like, there's nothing wrong. So yeah, they could have done.
Oh, he's so awkward. He's like, it's just.
Well, he had Danielson there, which I guess was to make people.
I know, but he should have just let him. Then he should have just stood there and nodded because it was so like.
But I think that's kind of the appeal for some people with Tony, because he's not this polished person like you see. And so I don't have an issue with Tony being the ones. It's just when he's devalued what the announcement seems, which I guess has kind of become a joke. And so now he's kind of leaning into it, but he's leaning into it a little too much. And they've got to, and that, just like we talked about last week, I really do wonder if the original announcement was supposed to be about Ric Flair, and they were just like, no, we can't do that. Which in that case, they should have pushed up the Continental announcement and just made that be the announcement. They should have pushed that up a week and just announced that instead.
I mean, it is a little more interesting, I guess, at least for that end of the year pay-per-view. It does make it a little more exciting, and I'm okay with the idea of
it too.
They can have excited. I mean, the concept, I'm okay with the concept, and I know they've been meaning to put a tournament together for a long time to get excitement up for this new pay-per-view that's going to be part of whatever it's going to be part of. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. It feels forced, and it feels like they're hot shot booking a little bit for ratings right now. And that's like not the this is the same argument I'm going to continue to sort of feel like lately is Tony's just not doing it for me so much right now. Like he's not, I'm still watching Wednesday. I'm still watching Friday. I'm still watching Saturday, but I'm like, it's easy for me to zone out sometimes. It's easy for me to like go check the Twitters or go see who, what everyone's talking about. And I mean, I'm glad that there's a live thread, because then I can, if I need to, I can. Sort of, but
sure.
I mean, I'm not like, I quit AEW, it's stupid. I'm just feeling like, I don't know. It's like
I felt
a little aimless right now.
I felt like this week's Dynamite was one of the better Dynamites we've had in a while.
It was better.
It kind of went like, especially that first hour or so was fantastic. Like just the matches and just going like that they were doing. Then they had the Samoa Joe vacating the title. Yeah. And they have something else we're about to talk about with the Mariah May stuff. Mm-hmm. And then they had there was one other thing. And I was like, it feels like, I was like, you're almost there. Like you're getting it. And I feel like, so I was like, I do feel like there's some course correcting going on.
It's a Roddy Strong thing.
I don't mind the Roddy Strong stuff. I know a lot of people hate it, but I think I don't mind it. It doesn't bother me.
It's not really doing it for me,
but I feel like overall that was one of the better Dynamites that they've had in a while.
I agree with that though,
and I hope that they keep. I was like, and it may take a few weeks to kind of. So they may have where it's really good in the really good first hour, and then it kind of some things maybe because like I know they're not just going to obviously drop storylines, and they've got to let this stuff. Some of this stuff has got to play out. So, but it feels like Tony's at least listening, and he hears that where people are having issues, and he's wanting to kind of. And the biggest argument has been like, just go back to what you were doing before, like the Dynamites in the first year or two. Go back to that, and it feels like that first hour was kind of like, is this what you want? Is this what you're talking about? This is the stuff that you want to see? And so many people in my timeline were like, God, this first hour of Dynamite has been great. This is what I've been missing. This is what I've been wanting to see. And so I'm hoping, and we've talked about it before, Tony, is even though Twitter is a very small subsection of wrestling fandom, it is where Tony listens. That is where Tony checks.
Well, he does populate. So let's be real. He populates social media. he clouch faces. He looks for he is of an age, of the age where that is something that he factors into his reasoning.
I think it's
whether we like it or not.
Well, and for the most part, I think it's a smart thing to do. And he can get instant reactions and so now he can kind of see, okay, so now hopefully he went on Twitter and saw, okay, the fans really enjoyed this stuff in the first hour. They enjoyed Daniel Garcia being a wrestler and not this sports entertainer bullshit. Like, I cannot, like, they have got to get, like, JAS is done. Then get rid of all of it. Then put Daniel Garcia, just put him back as a wrestler, put 2.0 in the tag team division. And I don't know what the hell you do with Jake Hager, but I don't really care because he's not for me. So but you do whatever you want.
You can do something. He's fine.
Put him on TV, not put him on TV. I don't care.
There's plenty of places for him to be.
Yeah, do whatever with him. But JAS is gone. Get rid of it completely. Like, quit trying to make them like, and I don't like the fact that like 2.0 was holding Daniel Garcia back from shaking MJF's hand. Like that's stupid. That has nothing to do with you. Go away. Stop that. Then my whole thing was Daniel Garcia. I'm like, you're a grown ass man. Walk around them or go backstage and seek him out and be like, sorry that they were holding me back from you. Go to his locker room and knock on the door and shake his hand. Like, I know it's not the story they're telling or whatever bullshit, but like, and he's eventually like, I thought Nikki did too. Nikki was like, I thought he was going to turn on 2.0 right there. Like, I thought he was going to be like, I don't need you guys anymore. Like, we're done. And like, you're not going to stop me from this. And so I don't know. I just think they should get rid of it. But again, overall, I thought the whole episode was much better than it has been.
I agree with that.
I mean, maybe some of it is because they're going into full gear on Saturday. So maybe that's some of it. I do think it's just that Tony, I think between a lot of people, there was a lot of comments and stuff about bringing in Paul White for that match. Then the next day they announced Ric Flair and he got a ton of backlash from that. And then he got some backlash for the announcement being sign up to know when tickets go on sale for Wembley for a pay-per-view 9 months away that's in another country. I think it just felt like, so I kind of think all of it was like
right before Christmas.
Right. Exactly.
In the worst economy we've had in our lifetimes.
Yeah, so I think Tony was just like, I gotta do something. I'm losing him. So maybe
that wasn't it.
Year, but I feel like, but no, I think now this week, I think.
Oh no, yes, this week.
Yeah,
okay,
so I think that's why he kind of panicked and was like, I gotta do something. I gotta get these fans back. I'm losing them a week before, a week and a half before a pay-per-view. I gotta bring some stuff back. So now, and then maybe now that if he is delegating ROH some to Maria and Chris Hero, then that's less things on his plate. We've talked about it. He's got to get Jimmy Jacobs out of creative. Let Jimmy Jacobs go do something else. You don't have to fire him.
There's so many other people in there. And I mean, even Bryan Danielson has been doing some stuff with storylines and stuff. So work on
it. Which is why
that guy has read like every book on the planet that's in English. Like,
which is why I
definitely
think the tournament will be
right stories.
I'm wondering if Danielson is booking this tournament. This is his first kind of, I'll give you the book and I'll give you my input, but Danielson, you kind of have free reign of, and he's in the tournament. I joke that Nigel was going to enter the tournament so he could wrestle Danielson since he didn't get to wrestle Brittle Danielson at Wembley. Nigel McGuinness is going to enter this tournament. So well, I think it could be fine. I hope that they do something for the women. I'd like to have a women's tournament. Somebody tweeted last night, because before I had got caught, I didn't get home until late yesterday because I was with family, and so I was watching last night and hadn't gotten to that conversation. I hadn't gotten to that portion of the show, and somebody had tagged Tony and Danielson and was like, you should have an AEW women's tournament that's AEW versus Stardom women. And I was like, why in the world are they tagging Danielson in it? What does Danielson care? And then I got to the announcement. I was like, okay, now it makes sense. So it's like, yeah, I'd like to see something for the women to get that. And now we have apparently it sounds like the bunny is gone. It came out a couple days ago that she's been moved off the roster page. And so it sounds like she might be done with AEW. Butcher and Blade did wrestle a dark match on Dynamite because Jim Valley said that they did. So I don't know if that was her last night. I don't know if it has somebody else. I take that back. I did see someone tweet and say that they talked to Butcher and Blade's manager or agent or whatever, and they confirmed that Butcher and Blade are still with the company, but it sounds like the bunny is not. And I was like, the women can't afford to lose. I mean, they weren't using her, but I mean, we need to. I'm so glad that Red Velvet is back. She's looked really great. I think it was weird putting her against Julia in her first match back because Julia has been on this streak. So I thought I was like, why are you going to make her? She is going to lose this match. Like as soon as I saw the graphic, I was like, Julia's going to win. That they at least
with where they have her right now in storage.
Yeah, so. And they had Red Velvet, and then so Red Velvet wrestled on Rampage, and she got the win over Ruby Soho. I don't like the idea that they made it look like that Red Velvet could only beat her because Ruby was distracted because somebody sent her spray painted flowers. So I was like, this is leading into these diva tropes. I can't. This leads, and people keep telling you, get away from the sports entertainment. Like, we want to watch wrestling. Like, I was talking. I mean, I've said this before, and I'm sure you have too. But I was talking to a friend the other day, and I was like, if I wanted to watch WWE, I would.
I
don't want to watch that. So please,
with Valley. So
yeah. So please don't make I don't have an issue with the storyline of Ruby Soho and Ange, and if they do it on screen like that, I don't have an issue with. It's when it affects the women and it lessens what's happening in the women's division and in the ring, because after that, what were people talking about? They were talking about Ruby Soho getting flowers. They weren't talking about Red Velvet getting her first win in 9 months.
Or being back for that matter at all.
Yeah.
I mean, a few of us, because we're fans, were like, yay, Red Velvet's back. And it's like, look at this over here with Ruby. And it's just like, okay.
Yeah. So it just
Red Velvet's back though.
Yeah. So
she's good.
She looks fantastic. Like she looks really good. I love her new hair. Her new hairstyle looks cute on her. Like I like all of the presentation they're doing with her, and I hope that they're not gonna forget about her in 2 weeks, and because they've already moved away from Abaddon because spooky season is over. So
right.
Daza says they seem to almost disappear the bunny and Penelope Ford, even when they are when they are at ringside. They barely show them. Really, they've been making some really interesting choices. Vinkin says and Bunny is gone. That's what we were just talking about, that she's apparently she's no longer on the AEW roster page, and it appears that she has gone. Unless there may have been confirmation. I wasn't really online yesterday, so maybe there was confirmation that
I haven't been as online obviously this week either. Both of us have family, so
we were doing in real life things this week.
We had shoot crap to do.
So that will. Daza says, I'm more excited for what WWE is doing with the women, which I don't even watch in AEW. I mean, the new Damage Control group is awesome. I saw what they're doing. So it is a new Damage Control group and not just for the War Games match, right? It sounds like this is a new thing. I don't know where Dakota Kai fits in that team, but that's an interesting. But there seem to be, I mean, as it is with AEW, cautiously optimistic. I don't watch WWE, but I hear some of the things that they're doing. I have friends who watch and who cover it. So it sounds like the women are doing a lot better over there, that they're giving a damn a little bit more, or at least Shawn Michaels does, because he's the one running the NXT side of things. I mean, I know that happened on the main roster. Vinkin says they're going to turn Bailey into Edge. She's definitely going to get ousted from that. Unless she turns on them first and then goes back to being a baby face, which is, I love Bailey as a heel, but they don't really do anything with her from what I understand. So probably baby facing her. Vinkin said it's going to be so funny. They're going to do like the, he says turning her into Edge, but it also makes me think of, what was it? Legacy, where they did the thumbs down and turned on, but it made him drop Batista.
Yeah.
I felt like that's gonna happen to Bailey, but Edge definitely with the Judgment Day type of stuff. But yeah, so it's well, that leads us right into the next thing I wanted to talk about with the women's division. And so we finally got the long-awaited, rumored debut of Mariah May. It, it happened. So after the women's match and after this segment with Ruby, then they cut to RJ City, and there's Mariah May. They just bring her in a back. I mean, they bring her in a backstage segment. Sure, she I guess, hit all her talking points. I'm Mariah May. I just came over from Stardom, and you're RJ City, and you know Tony Storm, and so we kind of get like, okay, this is why she's here. We've got her. We know who she's. We've established who she is, and we know why she's here. I really felt like it was lackluster. What did you think of how they handled Mariah's debut?
I thought it was super fun. How do you have a debut of a woman of this scale in a backstage segment with RJ City is my question. Why is this not like her standing on, I'll even take her standing on the platform and calling out Chris Statlander for the TBS title, like pointing at her or something, like, or bring her, wait. I mean, you can't wait until Tony Storm's on your card with her. I'm not sure what they're like. Is she supposed to be a Tony Storm mark, or is she supposed to be?
Definitely got, like, as soon as she was said that, I was like, I got Mickey James Trish Stratus vibes from that, really, and I was like, okay, that's where I was like, okay, so this is where the story is going. She's obsessed, and I guess so. Then they can kind of do, because it's been rumored for weeks that that's who they were bringing. They were bringing Mariah May in to work with Tony Storm, which is really smart, because you attach her to the biggest woman in the in AEW. Right. On the main roster. That makes perfect sense. And then, so I was like, I can't tell if, like, she thinks she's an actress and, like, she's a big fan, and kind of like that I can kind of see. And so I did get like that part I don't have an issue with. It's the fact that you are, at the time, you were 10 days out from your next pay-per-view. Why didn't you just have, like, and people, and I've heard the argument, well, not everybody knows who Mariah May is. Correct. Not everybody knows when you bring in a new wrestler that you don't know who they are. But that's where you have Excalibur screaming into the microphone. That's Mariah May from Stardom. What is she doing here in AEW? Like,
or do a spot with her like you did, but it's on the pay-per-view because she's a big star. So have your RJ City interview with her and whatever. To me, I feel like introducing her with RJ City and not introducing her with, like you said, having Excalibur, again, do a package, do her standing on the platform and being like, I'm coming for you.
Or like, watching, like, I think Jeff Hawkins had a really great
I gotta apologize to him because he had a take on this, and I have not got to the Dynamite show yet. But you can spoil it.
He has a much longer take.
I want to hear it. I just haven't gotten
a small portion of his take, which I really liked, was why not do Easter eggs? Like, we're interviewing Tony, and you can see somebody watching in the background. You see Mariah kind of hanging around, or maybe she's peeking around the corner, or she comes up afterwards and she, like, says something to Art, like, build that up, and then you bring her, and then we kind of get, then at Full Gear we see Mariah May, like, standing outside of her locker room and has to be ushered away, or have something like that they could have built to it. And because then if they do these little Easter eggs, then that's when Excalibur can be like, that's Mariah May from Stardom. What is she, why is she here? Why she seems interested in Tony Storm. And then we see that is Mariah May, or, you could do those type of things to introduce her to an audience that doesn't know her. But for people, even if they don't know her, a lot of people who are online and watch AEW have heard the name Mariah May. You could have been, so you're telling me that Mariah May is going to be this huge star who's going to be huge for the AEW women's division. She's a huge get, and you introduce her backstage on Dynamite after a Ruby Soho angle where she has a crush on somebody. Like, it just feels like they just, I do think that I don't think this, like, ruins her by any means. Like, I think that they can, whatever they do to follow up will be fine. It felt so lackluster, and I was so, and I tweeted out, I said, that's how you debut her?
I just thought it was the flattest thing in the world. And I said that to Jim a little bit. I didn't get into it much, but I was
I felt it was for somebody who, especially with this women's division, needs somebody so badly like Mariah May that you should have made her a bigger deal. It just felt like they're like, here she is. That's it.
I mean, it's definitely no slight on RJ City. I like him for the right things at the right times, but I
love I'm a huge RJ City fan.
I'm fine with him. Like, I get the humor, it's fine. I just don't like, and I know that he's connected to Tony, and that's the whole thing, and that whatever. But that still should have been an interaction on like Full Gear, or maybe even the go home shows for Full Gear. But
or you have maybe
I hate that they debuted her backstage.
Right. Or you could even have like Mariah like find Luther and like, can you give this, like she has like a fan letter or something. Can you make sure that Tony gets this? And he just like throws it in the trash or something. Like they could have done these little things.
I like the Easter egg concept a lot, where she does little things like that. She sees RJ City and says, "How are you gonna?" She sees Luther and says, "Can you give this to Tony?" And
and then that's how she gets to and then doing the same thing with RJ, because she was like, which that I think is fine, and it sets
there are creative ways to introduce people that people don't know, and that would be a very creative way to introduce someone that some of us know, but not all of us know.
Right. And I understand that, like, and I saw people there like, well, you don't want to put her out there and she not get a reaction. Well, the way that Portland crowd was all night, I think she would have got a reaction.
Sure, they know who Mariah.
But if you're worried that she's not going to get a reaction, then you put her on Full Gear, put her on your pay-per-view, and introduce her that way.
Right.
Do something. Have her run out there and do something, or have her like telling Tony good luck, and Tony's like, who the hell is that? And Excalibur can be like, is that Mariah May? Wasn't she just in Stardom? What is she doing here? And what does she want with Tony? Like, just that could have been so simple. And
I did not like it.
I didn't either.
No stars. Would not
no
recommend.
Stars for me either. So we have some comments in the women over here that I want to get to about this. Yes. So Venkin, I have heard this too, that Megan Bain has been signed with AEW. She's been signed with them for months. She had already worked something out with Japan, and they were like, we're signing you, but go fulfill that stuff and do what you need to do, which would be great, because Megan Bain is somebody, if you were especially if you were watching Dark and Elevation, she was on there a lot, and she has I haven't really watched her a whole lot. I've been hearing about her. She's really developed this character really well, and she's somebody that whenever she's ready for AEW, if they handle her correctly, could be a really big deal for the women's division too. So that would be great. But Brad says, excuse me, he said, I don't love the debut, but I didn't hate it. Doing a video would have been ideal, but at least the fans know who she is now. And I have seen this too. Daza said, so they're doing All About Eve, which is a great story to base a women's pro wrestling on. However, they've been so on the nose that it's or that's what's cringy. Yeah, or that is cringy. Yeah, I've heard a reference to them doing this movie from the 50s about All About Eve, and it sounds like a really interesting concept. They've just got to execute it correctly. And I wish I had saved that tweet so I could tell you a little bit more about what that movie is about. Daza might be able to fill us in on that. And again, the comments take a few minutes, they lag behind, so it might be something we have to come back to. Brad said the problem is AEW fans don't know May. I'd say a large majority don't watch Stardom, so doing a cold debut in front of a crowd that thinks she's a former WWE wrestler would be death. That's why you do it at Full Gear. And you have, I mean, I know the fans in the crowd can't hear Excalibur yelling, but I still think that's what they should have done. Brad also says AEW isn't known for doing debuts very well since their inception. Dark Order, Butcher and the Blade, Jay White's debut was not good at all. Yeah, I was really disappointed in Jay White's debut.
Jay White's debut was
he's a huge star.
Spectacular debuts, and maybe
I feel like we saw how Jon Moxley debuted. And I know that's a whole different thing because it was like their first pay-per-view and it was a really big deal and people know who Dean Ambrose is. And so so we've seen how they can handle debuts. And so it should have been exciting like that at a pay-per-view. But yeah, that Jay White hated his debut. I'm so mad at them for that. I was like, what are
I guess
doing?
and my argument too is like, I mean, I get it, and we need to please people on all familiarity aside, but also like New Japan premieres people, like they debut people all the time, and I don't feel like, I mean, I don't know who they are, but I'm still like, ooh, who's this?
Well,
like,
yeah, this conversation comes up
I mean,
all the
you
time.
can,
Like,
you can do it in a way that it's like, just because I don't know them doesn't mean it's not intriguing to me and I can't get excited about it. I mean, just because it's not a screaming for it, if the audience is buzzing about like, who is this, that's just as good of a reaction as like a huge pop for a brand new person.
Yeah, and how many times have we had the conversation? Google is right there. Like we talked about, like they're like, oh, I don't know. Well, they brought in like Mystico, or they brought in Commander.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, they brought in all of this stuff, and it's like, just use Google. We'll do the same thing for Mariah.
You know the thing you're using to tweet about how you don't know who this is? It also has a search function on it onto the internet that can actually tell you who the person is.
And if you're wanting to know who any Joshi wrestler is, just go follow Scott E Wrestling on Twitter, and it's literally right there. Or come to the Fight Game Media Network, and you can watch the Joshi show. There's a really great clip. It's like a 30-minute clip, and I watched it yesterday. They're talking about the idea of Julia potentially going to WWE and all this stuff, and it's like he's gave a lot of see, there it is right there on the screen at Scott E Wrestling.
I keep his thing on here because he is a very important person for all things Joshi that you need to know.
Make sure, just go follow him right now.
You can
when you're following ASÉ, go follow Scott E Wrestling.
Right. See, all the places you have to hit for that PS5, you can subscribe to our stuff too. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a bonus day for you guys.
Yes, it is. You're just, and it's so
simple
easy.
Clicks of your fingers,
and it's a free way to support.
And you can win a PS5.
You could. Daza said, just do a video package and build to her, making it clear that Mariah is coming. Yeah.
Although like the Painmaker thing that they did with Jericho or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
they introduce people all the time that nobody knows in New Japan, or that people haven't seen in a long time, or I don't know. There's ways to do it.
Yeah, anyway. There is. So Daza says that sort of story only works if the object of the fandom is a massive success. Like Trish, Mariah have been standing on her, even if she has a build towards betraying her, makes her a goof. And he did come to. I will come back to Venkin in just a minute because he made some comments. But I believe we have a response to what All About Eve is about. Okay, All About Eve is about a young woman who becomes an apprentice of a Hollywood legend, seemingly because she's because she idolizes her, but it turns out she's wanting to replace her as a star.
Okay. Oh, no, okay.
He said, for the record, All About Eve is one of my favorite films. Betty Davis is awesome in it. I've heard, and it's funny because I've heard about this movie before, and I've just never seen it.
Like Black Swan is like a take on that movie, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. So,
that's like someone wanting to replace someone, right?
Sure.
She wanted to become her, basically.
Right.
Yeah, I can get with that. That's cool.
So it seems like that premise is cool, and I think like I said, I don't think the way she debuted kills her or anything like that.
No, I just didn't. I think that they could have done better. They did her dirty on her debut,
and especially when we've complained so much about how you treat the women's division, and then you bring in this huge wrestler who's going to be a huge star and could put AEW women's division finally on the map if they handle it correctly, which I know that's asking a lot of them. But I just felt it could have been better. Venkin said that her finisher is an F5.
Nice.
And then he also said, Moxley destroyed everyone and then left in his debut. And she didn't necessarily have to do that, but they just needed to make her feel like a big deal. Like she is here to set the women's division on fire. She's here to blow it up and help mold it and bring it into the next and we're going into year 5. We're finally going to take the women's division seriously. I know that's probably not what's happening, but you have to make us feel like you give a damn about the women's division.
They even could have now I'm sitting here thinking that if they had done they could have even done what they did, but leaned way further into why she's there. You know what I'm saying? Like, make that clear. Make it clear to me, because it came off as her being more of a like a mark than a fan.
Yeah, and it definitely felt like like I said, I got
I'm such a. But they could have actually made it more like, I've come because she's so wonderful, and I'm trying to be.
Or not. You don't even have to say that, because you want it to unfold. You can just be like, I'm a really big, like, this is where Toni wrestles, and I want to wrestle her. She came. She wrestled in Stardom, and I did too. So that's her. She, after she left Stardom, she came here, and so that's what I'm here to do. I want to do just like Toni. I want to be just like Toni. And then let it unfold.
That's it. You got it.
Then let the All About Eve storyline unfold. Like that would be fine.
I mean, it's a little tricky if we don't know, but now that I know, I get it a little bit better, and it's fine. But that's fine, Daz. I'm good with that. I always like watching
for
stuff.
The people on audio, Daz has given us homework, which is to watch All About Eve. I need to find out where I can watch it. I'm sure I probably can stream it somewhere, I would assume.
I'll find it.
Vinkin says, once again, why is Athena and ROH not taking all the belts at this point? Yeah, make her Ultimo Dragon. I want to see Athena out there holding all the titles on her arms. That's what I'm here for.
Unknown freaking it's so weird.
Vinkin says that Toni did win the world title in Stardom. Yeah, so then they could have had Mariah be like, she did this in Stardom, so and then she left, and we know she went to WWE, but we don't have to put that part of the story in there.
We can skip that. It's wrestling.
She didn't have to, but she's like, but now she's here. She went to Stardom, and now she's here in AEW, and she's been the champion here, and so I want to come in, and I want to learn. I want to wrestle for the same place that Toni Storm wrestles for, and then we let the story unfold. But I hope they make Mariah into a bigger deal. And they did. And somebody else pointed out when the All About Eve concept that they appear to be doing, Toni did tweet when he made the announcement that Mariah May is All Elite. He said it's all about Mariah. So he seemed to kind of, he kind of had a little nod to that in his.
All right, I'll plead ignorance on this one and give it a chance. And
I felt like the debut could have been a little bit better, but
I agree with you.
It
had to be a better way.
I will say that I'm really excited that she's here. I've heard nothing but amazing things about her. I'm not super familiar with her match. I've seen clips of her, and I've seen and the clips I've seen of her, she's very good, especially for her experience level, and she's got an amazing look. She seems to have a lot of charisma and star power, and she's somebody that, especially putting her with Toni, can really develop her into the next level. And so if they do this correctly, Mariah May could and should be a big star, and she should be somebody that brings this division forward if they start giving a damn about the women's division. There's a lot of factors at play here, and it's not all on Mariah May, but she could potentially be a huge, I think she will be a huge asset to the women's division, and that is building her properly. That is how you attract the Julias and the Mercedes Monets, like we've talked about. Like, you're not doing anything to attract these big name wrestlers to your company. But if you handle Mariah May correctly, then there's other women in Stardom who could potentially come over in the future. Or there's there's
really know the names of.
Right. And then there is Julia, and there is these people. And so, I mean, if you handle her right, she could be the person that you could use. I mean, besides Toni Storm and Jamie Hayter, this is who you can help. Those three women could help attract a lot of women talent in the future if they do this correctly. And so again, with anything related to the women's division, I am cautiously optimistic. Just proceed with caution, but I'm excited to see what Mariah can do, because I've heard so many good things about her, and I know so many people who are familiar with Stardom absolutely love her. So yeah. Venkin said, I heard WWE wanted Sari back, and she signed with Sukiban, which is really interesting. I'm wondering if that means Sukiban's going to start running on a more regular basis instead of running just to I think October was just to set the tone. They've got a show in Miami next month. And so then I'm wondering if after that, they're going to start running monthly, or maybe something maybe they do stick with the every other month type of thing. But now, because they brought in somebody of that caliber,
a star. Like
and
I mean, a potential ace essentially to build around for a little bit.
Right. So it sounds like, so I'm wondering if because they signed her and it's to a multi-year deal, makes me wonder if they're planning to do monthly shows now. Or heading into the new year. But Sukeban's really excited. I loved the first show. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do and becoming more familiar with, again, we've talked about, Stardom is definitely, that type of stuff is more of a blind spot for me. I don't watch it because I just don't have the time to, and I probably should invest more into it. But that's one of the reasons I'm excited about Sukeban is because now I can see some more of these freelance women and just see what, just get a variety. I mean, like we've talked about, Battle of the Valley is where I saw Stephanie Vacour for the first time. And she's so good. She's down in CMLL, and they've been using her more often. I keep hearing her name a lot more, and so like that's why I like.
She was great. I really enjoyed. She was. Yes, I would love to watch more of that.
Yeah, she's somebody I'd love to see, even if she doesn't sign with AEW. If they've got this relationship with CMLL, like that's somebody I would like to see brought in and do some crossover matches with people and just get some exposure to her. I think that would be really cool. She seems, I really enjoyed her. Let's see here. So I did want to bring this up because we talked about it a few times, which was actually kind of funny. So when Sting's announcement was made about that he was retiring, I was like, man, I really hope AEW is coming back to Charlotte or Greensboro. I really want to see Sting one last time. Then they announced that they signed Ric Flair. And so last week I said... they're going to bring Ric Flair to Flair Country so that he gets some woos and not some boos. And then a few days ago, that's exactly what they did. They announced Collision for January 6th, which made me kind of laugh at the date when I realized what the date was. Jericho's nowhere to be seen on that poster. So Collision is coming. Dead center of the poster is Ric Flair. Like, you got to be kidding me. It's FTR.
Wait, when are they coming?
January the 6th, they're coming. The Collision is coming to Charlotte. Yeah, so Ric Flair's dead center of the poster. Sting is on the poster, but he's like over to the side a little bit. It's like FTR, and which I know because they're from Asheville, so it's FTR, and then there's Ric Flair. And I was like, I knew they were going to do that. I knew they were going to bring him to Charlotte and or Greensboro so that he would get woos and cheers and they could pretend like nobody's mad at them for signing it. And I was so annoyed. It's like, and I've considered not, and tickets go on sale on Friday. They're like, oh, your birthday is coming up. We're going to have tickets for a Collision show 2 days before your birthday. So I will most likely go to the show. Ric Flair is a huge deterrent not to go, but I want to see Sting.
They haven't been back in a really long time, and
it's Sting. They haven't been to Charlotte because they've been to Greensboro a couple of times, and I wasn't able to make it to those shows. So this is the first time in Charlotte in a long time.
That might be the day before our 100th episode, right?
Oh, you know what? I think it might be. It's
right
around.
I mean, I don't know. It always varies because we never know when we're going to do a bonus, like a show in between. But I mean, I think we figured out that was like the weekend after.
Right around, I think right around that time.
Like Happy New Year.
Yes, and then it's our.
I mean, it's cool. Like you should go to a Collision because you haven't been to one.
No,
so
that would be
that
cool.
aspect of
well,
it.
and also I'm going to get ROH taping, so I was like,
and there's that.
So I'm happy about that. So I was like, I watch ROH. They typically book local wrestlers that I know for ROH and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say you guys have people that could potentially come in.
Yeah, so I was like, maybe some people I know will be booked there. I'm hoping because Work Horseman has been on Collision more often lately. They're from JD Drake is from Shelby, North Carolina, which is like an hour-ish from Charlotte. And then Anthony is from Georgia, but he wrestles a lot in Charlotte. DPW is based here. They are the current DPW Tag Team Championships. However, they are putting their titles on the lines tonight against Grizzled Young Veterans. And I have a feeling I know what's going to happen. I have a feeling Grizzled Young Veterans are going to take this title.
I haven't heard of them in a while.
Yeah, so that match makes me laugh because it's James Drake versus James Drake. Because James Drake from Grizzled Young Veterans getting signed to WWE is why James Drake had to change his name to JD Drake.
God,
That's why. But so I'm hoping, I was like, well, what if I was like, maybe they'll book Workhorseman for that episode of Collision. My luck, they're going to book him against Sting and Darby. So I was like, I'm hoping. So Darby is also on the poster. So I'm sure.
Although, I mean, that would be an epic battle. So.
It would be.
I mean, it's a great match. Even if you're like your heart favorite doesn't win, like that's a huge match. I mean,
yeah, it is. It is. Workhorseman with Sting, like that's like bucket list stuff.
That's good.
So yeah, I really had reservations when I saw him on there, but I was talking to it and I was like, and it goes back to my friend was like, none of this is Sting's fault. He has nothing to do with the reason Ric Flair is the way that he is. And so I don't want to miss Sting's last show in Charlotte because I can't stand Ric Flair. And I'm sure I'm just bracing myself for it now. I'm sure we're getting a Ric Flair promo because he's gotta get the woos in.
Of course.
So I'm sure we're getting a promo. I just really hope he's not gonna get into the ring because he has said he wants to wrestle. I'm just hoping I can tune out his.
You gotta have a cheesesteak in Philly, and you gotta have a woo in Charlotte.
Yeah, and we knew, and I said last week it was gonna happen.
Knew it.
And then I knew it. I called it.
Nikki knew it. We all knew it, really. Yeah. I think in our heart of hearts, I think that we all knew it. And but well, let's get it over with. And like you said, it isn't about Ric Flair. It doesn't you don't need to give any he doesn't get to live rent free in your head. Screw him.
No, I'm just gonna
awesome, and who cares?
Yeah, I'm just gonna prepare myself to the fact that he will probably cut a promo. Daza says he'll chop someone too. Probably so. Probably James Drake.
At this point, he's kind of just pathetic. Really, honestly, he's pathetic now.
He is.
He's stupid to look at.
If this match happens, if it's Workhorseman versus Sting and Darby, Ric Flair decides he wants to chop someone, I hope he takes a JD Drake's. Well, I was going to say, I hope he takes a JD Drake chop. However, that might do something to his pacemaker.
Pacemaker.
Hits very, very hard. And Anthony Henry kicks very hard. I have seen them up close, and I've seen their hits and their chops and their kicks up close and in person, and they are way more brutal than they appear on TV, and they appear brutal on TV. So
if we're being real and we're following a sort of Japanese style of retiring a legend, then they should probably put the Workhorseman over in that match. Not,
I would like to see that
necessarily. I mean, sorry, Daza.
No, that's okay. I'll put Daza. Yeah, Daza. Yeah. So Daza said he looks a fucking saint. He's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing. He's pathetic. He can't even it's not even worth bothering with him because he's just he'll come out, a bunch of people will get their woos off because people are they
would get them off regardless of him being there. We talked about that last week. People
start shouting. Even up here you get around the right crowd of people and people will start shouting woo. It's a thing. It is a thing. Yeah. It's the ultra meme. It's so meme-ish now. It's gone. It's it's all the way past. It's such a super nostalgia thing. It's fine. Right. Whatever. It'll be done with.
Like we said last week, he doesn't move tickets. I mean, maybe he moves a small amount in Charlotte, but he's not. People are coming to see Sting on his last.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's for Sting. And he has to hit the big markets like that too.
Yeah. Venkin says the Flair wants the last match, put him against Roosh.
There you go.
That would be funny as hell. And I saw your previous comment. Yes, I do. We talked about this a little bit last week. I do think that once the Sting thing's kind of over with, they're going to put Ric Flair with Andrade because that was the original plan before Dark Side of the Ring aired. I have a feeling that they will do something with him and Andrade. Yeah.
Because
that here's the comment here that he'll be and then Venkin also said, going back to how is AEW not trying to sign grizzled young veterans yet? First of all, they got to do something with this damn tag team division as it is.
They're really focused on Edge.
Well, and I know there's the argument about not putting them on our club because nobody watches and it's behind a paywall, but you find ways to watch. Oh, Will Ospreay behind a paywall, but whatever. But Grizzled Young Veterans in the ROH tag team division, just looking at the teams themselves, not looking at where it's at, but just looking at that tag team division, they would be fantastic in that division. I mean, they would be on the AEW roster too. But that, like, and I will get more into some of the matches, obviously, on the pre show, but I don't like that 4-way tag stuff that they announced last night I don't like it.
I can kind of say I'm very take it or leave it on that one. I
don't want Ricky and Bill to be transitional champions, especially for what they've been building Ricky as. And I think it would be a bad idea to have them lose. But it's just this match. So it's LFI. So from LFI, is it Rush and Dralisico that or is it? I don't think it's Preston. I think it's Rush and Dralisico.
It's Rush and Dralisico and Andrade.
And then
right?
No, it's a tag team. Because Andrade is not.
Oh no, right, you're right.
So I think so. It's a tag team. So I think it's Rush and Dralisico, not Preston Vance, against Ricky and Bill, against FTR, and there's one more tag team.
Is it the Guns?
Is it the Guns?
No, it's not.
I don't remember. I was so annoyed by the match that I was just like,
I can't remember right now.
Honestly. It's not the Bucks, which is surprising because the Bucks have the.
Maybe
they
it's
have. Oh wait, no, that's right. The Bucks are wrestling Jericho and Kenny Omega.
The Golden Jets.
God, that's such a terrible name. Just give us.
I think it's a name from an old school Canadian. I actually think that there was like a team called that at some point.
Well, it probably was, and then I figured the Jets will. Yeah, we'll talk a lot more about this on Saturday. I don't give you some reasons to tune in to the pre-show and we'll get into it. But this tag team division is a mess. Maybe before Grizzled Young Veterans come in, they need to fix some stuff with it because geez. I just don't like what they're doing. And I really hope that I think Bill and Ricky should retain those titles hold them for a little bit longer. I would say into the new year, perhaps they drop if they can't. Depending on how stagnant this booking is, maybe they have them drop it at Worlds Collide, but I would like to at least have them into the new, at least make it to Revolution with them.
Yeah,
put them on Battle of the Belts. Good Lord. If you're going to make me watch Battle of the Belts.
Put something interesting on it for a change.
Yes. Thank you, Venkin. Kings of the Black Throne. That's the other
thank
two.
you.
Yes, thank you. It's
Yep.
Yes. Very glad to see House of Black involved. And so then I wouldn't mind them having the tag team titles. However, I just think with the way they've been trying to push Ricky and the story they've been telling with him about how he almost gets there and then something happens, I would like to see him have the title bit longer. And then now we have the stuff going on with the TBS championship. I'm glad we're getting both women's matches on the card. At Full Gear. I'm glad both titles are being defended, and it appears not one of them will not be on 0 Hour. It appears they'll both be on the main card. But yeah, it'll be. I have some takes about that too, but we'll save that for Saturday. Grace says AEW is a mess. It is a mess. Like they've got something like it's a it's an organized mess. Like there's so many good things happening, but then when you really sit down and think about it and talk about it, and you're like, what the hell are they doing? It's a cluster
F. Let's call it what it is. It is a cluster
F right now. It's just, and I do think they're going to be able to recalibrate some, and hopefully
I do too. I hope
by the time year 5 comes around, like maybe they're going to finish up some of these storylines. Like I'm sure I assume the devil payoff is coming at Full Gear. And not.
Have you seen people suggesting that could be Jack Perry?
I've seen it for weeks, and I hate. And I think,
it doesn't really look like him, but
no,
I'm still on the Britt Baker train or something in that vein.
I still think it's Adam Cole or Britt Baker. However, I do think throwing Anthony Bowens into the glass was a red herring for people who think it's Jack Perry because he broke glass. But that's been a rumor for a couple of months that's how they were bringing Jack Perry back as the devil.
I'm mad at him for making him fire Punk. So
Yeah, I don't think he's the devil. I don't think that's how they're bringing him back. But I do think the glass breaking was a red herring for the people who do think it's Jack Perry. Then they can be like, oh, he broke real glass.
I didn't even think about that aspect. You're right.
I did. As soon as that glass broke out, I immediately thought they broke. Somebody
I wasn't thinking hard enough about it. You're totally right.
Somebody tweeted and said that was real glass. I can't remember if it was Joey Janela or was somebody else tweeted about it being real glass, and it made me laugh because I had just said,
that
I was like,
I think it's wrestling stuff.
Yeah, I think that was a red herring for the people who do, because there are so many possibilities of who it could be. So for the people who think it's Jack Perry, I think that was look, it could be Jack Perry. He broke glass, and so I kind of think,
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of see it being. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if it's Jack Perry. I don't think it is. I think it's sticking with the storyline that Adam and Britt, or that Adam was telling before he got hurt, and like that type of stuff. And I think because Britt hates MJF and she hates Adam spending so much time with him, I think that makes more sense.
Go. Yeah.
I think that Britt was like, I hate them hanging out together. And she was like, and then I'm going to make people think that he took out Jay White. So like, I feel like that's the reasoning behind it. I mean, I'm sure they could, if it were to be Jack Perry, I'm sure they could come up with like why it would be Jack Perry. He's getting revenge on, the champion or whatever, especially because Jack Perry and MJF
had their beef when they had
and Jack Perry. Yeah, I was gonna say they've had their story. They're two. MJF said he's a pillar. They're pillars. They've had some really good matches that most likely Jack Perry and MJF will be that'll be a feud that no matter where they are, their paths are always going to cross and they're always going to wrestle each other. So I could see like. I haven't put a whole lot of thought into Jack Perry because I just don't think that's where this is going. But I do see how they could get to it being Jack Perry.
I just saw some people talking about it and was like, oh, yeah, I guess. I mean, anything's possible.
Yeah, I've seen the theory for a few weeks now, for probably at least, I would say 5 or 6 weeks now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've seen people referencing it, so that's why I think the glass breaking was a red herring, and kind of for the people will be like, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Vincent says, meanwhile, MJF is holding the ROH tag belts hostage. Yeah, that if anybody, and I meant to bring this up in the Samoa Joe rant, if anybody should be vacating a title, it's MJF. He should have vacated those ROH tag team titles the minute they found out Adam Cole was going to have surgery.
The fact that no one stepped in and forced him to do it at this point is just silly.
Yes, agreed.
He's your world champion. He can't be out there like.
Well, and he's never on Honor Club, so it's not like they would have to leave the Honor Club to be able to come confront him. They have to leave the Honor Club paywall to come confront him.
Notwithstanding the like ramifications for Honor Club, which there are many, 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 because he's got the ROH belts, not anything else. I mean, it kind of. Geez, there's so many. Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, so regardless, and I know they want to stick to the Adam Cole storyline, and I get it, but sometimes you got to pivot. We talked about this many, many times with Jade Cargill and Chris Statlander. When Statlander was hurt, they should have pivoted away, should have put the title on Willow, should have put the title on Ruby Soho, could have done other things with it, and he just doesn't like to veer off. So now we have the tag team titles, the ROH tag team titles being held hostage, and yeah, he should have been the big one to vacate. Does Jay White still have the AEW World title? Yes. MJF nearly got them back on Wednesday, but Jay White was able to keep it
because he put it down on the announce table and crap.
Yes, but yes, to answer your question,
yes, he is.
Yes. Is there anything else from this week or the upcoming shows that you would like to discuss?
No, I think that covers everything. We've got our we'll get the information and links out to you guys for our pre-show for Saturday's Full Gear show, and get you all the information you need for that. But it probably will be at the same time, as long as we're not interfering with something.
Yeah, we just got to double check our schedules. Most likely that's when it'll be, just because it'll just be on Saturday. Regardless, it'll be on Saturday, not Sunday. It will be the same day. We will not be doing a Sunday Full Gear Fallout show. That's what I believe. Actually, the Dynamite is the Boom doing that. I don't even know. Stay tuned to our social media because I don't know if
we will be on Saturday. There will more than likely be a post game and Fallout.
Because the Boom had been going,
because I know they're talking about it.
Yeah, the Boom had been going live after shows, and so has the Dynamite show. So I don't know if one of them will be handling post show duties on Saturday, but I believe regardless, all the shows are going to be on Saturday and then we wouldn't be here on Sunday on our regular time because of that. But speaking of Patreon, there have been a few changes. So speaking of Strong Style, their YouTube show will still be on Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, but the audio for it will drop on Friday mornings now. So that's what. So if you're an audio listener to our show and their show, just know that change is happening. Like I believe it's already happened because they had
it's in effect as of like this week or last.
Yeah, because this Thursday they had their live show Thursday, and I believe the audio came out for that Friday morning. Also, you should hang out because you never know who will pop up in the chat. Because I was in there. Paul Fontaine from the Dynamite show, he was in there, and Walker Stewart, the New Japan play-by-play guy, was in the chat and just hanging out and stuff. So that was a really cool thing.
That's why you definitely want to subscribe and hit the button on Speaking of Strong Style. I like to catch it if I can. I had my sister in town this week, but usually I like to stop into. They cover all things Japan and Japanese wrestling. So
yes, definitely,
especially New Japan.
Yep.
So it's right where those guys are smart.
Yeah, those guys are great.
Smart.
And then speaking of Japanese wrestling, the Joshi 5-star show is now going to be on the audio for it will be on the free feed. So the video will still be on Patreon. But if you want the audio, it's going to be on the free feed. This is kind of in response to some of the stuff that happened last week when information got out about Megan Bain and AEW and Stardom and some whole situations like that. Because Scott Edwards is so knowledgeable about Joshi, Fight Game Media wanted to make him more accessible because especially for people in Western countries who do not have a lot of mainstream coverage for Joshi wrestling, we wanted to make that more accessible because like we said, Scott Edwards, go follow at Scott E Wrestling because that is your guy for all things Joshi. And he's right. And in addition to doing podcasts and things like that, he writes for Fightful. I think he's written over 100 articles about Joshi wrestling. He's done interviews. He just interviewed, who did I just see? He just interviewed somebody really big for them the other day, and I meant to go back and read it, and I have completely blanked on who he interviewed. But he's always interviewing big names.
Because he's always talking to so many important people from all around the Joshi scene. Like, he is your guy. And he is up in the middle of the night watching these shows, folks. This is not a joke. He is like,
he takes it very seriously because he loves it. And that's what he says. He's like, I do this because I love it. And that is who you want to get information from, is somebody who loves it. And Vinkin, yes, bringing this back to speaking of Strong Style, they are not doing, and I heard the announcement on as well, if you guys watch them as well, they will not be doing a show on Thanksgiving Day. So they will be live this coming Thursday, and then the following Thursday, no live show for them because of Thanksgiving. Brad says, what if the devil is in fact MJF? He's always on video, and the saying goes, the greatest trick the devil ever played, the ultimate heel turn. No, I don't believe it, but it's an idea. Yeah, I've heard the theory that MJF is the actual devil. It could be. We have joked about how they do not drop the camera past a certain they don't drop the camera past a certain spot, because we've said that's how the devil got given away the first time, is because people figured out from his ass that it was MJF. They also don't go any lower because could be Britt Baker, and if they drop the camera a certain way, you will most likely be able to see that would probably give it away, whether it's Britt or Adam or Jack Perry or MJF. So, but maybe I'm really hoping we find out by Full Gear who this person is, because it is.
Yeah, it's getting a little long in the tooth.
Because then, and if they do it at Full Gear, then that sets you up for Worlds Collide for.
Yeah.
Should it be Britt Baker? Well, I don't know who Britt Baker would wrestle, but that could set up something. If it is Britt, maybe that sets something up for that. Perhaps it's because we know they don't do intergender wrestling in this company.
Mm-hmm.
So if they did, I want Willow Nightingale versus Brody King. They keep teasing it to me, and they did it again. They did it again last night. Willow does not fear him. She gets right up in his face. So if they did intergender wrestling, that would be a match I wanted to see.
I would like
but
that.
Yeah, so maybe it is Adam Cole. Vinkin said, wait, was it Vinkin? No, where did this comment go? Oh no, it was Daza, I'm sorry, who said that it could be Roderick. So if it's any of those people, perhaps that sets up a match for Worlds Collide. If it is Britt, I'm sure they've got something. It seems like the story's been playing out for a while. We know AEW loves their long-term storytelling. I'm sure they can get something at Worlds Collide going on, especially because Worlds Collide is on Long Island, and that is where MJF is from. So
Sky Blue, or not Sky Blue, but
Chris Statlander is also from Long Island.
Willow is Willow from Long Island?
No, Willow. No, I forget where she's from, but it's there. But it's
you're right.
Also that's where
that is the one. Yes,
I want to say that's where I don't know if they're from Long Island or just from New York, because I'm thinking of they went to create a pro together, but that's where John Silver and Alex Reynolds went from there. I can't remember if they're directly from Long. I feel like
I know there's a whole bunch from there because I know a lot of people in
that's
that
where Max
community.
Caster wrestled for Create a Pro, so that kind of ties into this story. Could potentially tie into the storyline. So I think Worlds Collide will be I think the reveal will be at Full Gear, and then it leads to whatever they're doing at Worlds Collide. But yeah, so make sure you tune in on Saturday. We'll tell you what time. We'll know hopefully in a day or two. So make sure you're following us on social media. Make sure you're following Scotty Wrestling on social media. Make sure you're following ASÉ ASE Wrestling on on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. ASÉ Wrestling is where you're going to go buy those tickets for $10 to support them.
ASÉWrestling.com, ASÉWrestling.com, and that is a great spot because you can literally link to all of their things. And they said, if you do all the things that they explained early on in the show, you could win a PS5. So
yes, and if you missed that, if you tuned in late and missed how you can win a PS5, you know what? I did not ask the question. I assume that giveaway is only for people in the U.S. since Darius is paying for shipping.
Go ahead and assume so. But
I would assume that is for the U.S. only. I did not think to clarify that with him.
But you never know because they did do media in there, so you could definitely contact. I'm sure you could reach out to them. They seem like pretty solid bros.
Which it's really smart because Darius has wrestled in the UK, but Shug lived in the UK for a few months while he was doing a lot of a couple before. I think this was pre-COVID. He lived there for several months because he was doing shows and building himself up on the Brit Rest scene. Doing some stuff over there, so they're both very familiar to some of the Brit Rest fans. But yes, I would double check that if you are watching this from another country and want to enter that giveaway. I would maybe I can reach out to them and just get clarification, just so you don't get disappointed if you.
If you do all those things for them, I don't see why.
Yes, and even if you just do them anyway, because it's a free way to support
good
people.
And they were really great.
Yeah, they were, and we appreciate them so much for coming. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. I know we were here for a while today. Nikki said this show has been awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you. If you're watching the replay, thank you. If you're listening on audio, we want to thank you for that too. And make sure to join us on Saturday, and we will get a time for you for the pre-show. And I think that covers it.
That's it. You guys have